4 drivers in the field have won at Texas. All 4 have done it more than once. We told you about Sauter, but nobody has more Texas wins than Todd Bodine. After all, you can't eat a Texas steak without a slice of onion. We told you about Brendan Gaughan's Texas success, but it's been a decade since he tasted it. Ron Hornaday has won here 3 times. NASCAR's top 3 series, all racing this weekend, all 3 in different states, from Pennsylvania to Iowa to deep in the heart of Texas. It's the Camping World Truck Series that kicks this triple header weekend into high gear. Hello and welcome to The Setup. I'm Krista Voda. Well, drivers, our Truck Series regulars in the field, they have been waiting for this race, circling it on their calendar for 2 big reasons. Number 1, this track is wide open and fast. Number 2, the winner of our last 2 races, Kyle Busch, is not here. But just because there's not a rowdy in Texas doesn't mean that this race is not going to get rowdy by the time the night ends. For who and what to watch tonight, let's go ahead and fire the engines. We begin with Ray Dunlap.
Thank you, Krista. They are pushing the trucks out onto the grid right now, and I'm standing by the number 13 truck from Thor Sport Racing. Now, the driver of this is Todd Bodine, the Onion. Many of you know that he's a 2-time champion. Most of you know that he's a 22-time race winner. But what you may not know is that this deal to run this 13 truck came together in the 11th hour. Todd Bodine and his guys were standing around talking the other day, and they informed him that his ARCA crew that's been running this team every week had to go to Pocono. So what should they do? Well, Todd says, I'm going to go race at Texas. I'll get the Viva Motorsports guys to come. We'll get Rick Gay to help call the shots. We're going to be there. They didn't qualify great, but I'm telling you, keep your eye on the Onion tonight at Texas. Hermie?
Well, Ray, we've got a lot of young, talented drivers in the Camping World Truck Series. We add another name to that list tonight as Chad Hockenbraugh makes his debut right here in the number 51 for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Now, you may think a rookie jumping in the truck that's won the last 2 races will be a lot of pressure on Chad, but really impressed how Ryan Fugel and this KBM team worked with Chad during practice, let him get up to speed, learn how to drive these trucks at a 1.5-mile racetrack. By the end of practice, a very competitive truck. He's won in the ARCA Series. Can he turn that into a victory tonight at Texas? We'll have to just wait and see. Now up to the booth and Rick Allen.
Hermie, I think one team that needs to fire their engines has to be Turner Scott Motorsports. After winning the championship a year ago, it seems as though they've been struggling, Michael.
Yeah, and I think they need to panic. I think it's time to get going. Look at our defending champion, James Busher. He has struggled mightily at the start of this season. A spin at Rockingham. He got into his teammate while fighting for the lead at Kansas. He's only led 67 laps all this year, and a wreck in the qualifying at Dover sent him to a 15th place finish. I do not see the speed I'd like to see out of this truck either. He doesn't lead enough laps. He's completed them all but one, but just not fast enough, Phil.
Michael, I don't think it's time to panic. Remember, when he was racing for that lead, he led 49 laps at Kansas. He was racing for the lead. He had the best truck early on. But in his championship season, after 9 races, he was 40 points behind. After 6 races this year, he's 45 points behind. So way too early to panic. Michael Shelton, his crew chief, said we've been trying some things. He said now we know that our teammates are fast. That's the good news. We have speed in the organization, so we know where we need to be, and they think they're very positive about tonight.
And one good thing is James Busher is a Texas native, so he's back home. Krista?
And taking a look at our point standings, Busher, though, is one of the drivers who loses ground this week. So do Armstrong and Dillon, while Wallace, Blaney, Sauter, and Gaughan all improve their stock. Up front, it's still Matt Crafton. He increases his lead over Jeb Burton to 30 markers. So whether Turner panics or not, we do have some drivers who might be hitting the panic button. Joey Coulter, who is celebrating a birthday tomorrow, hopes to celebrate tonight. Timothy Peters has been all or nothing this year, but he still has not been in the top 10 in points. Now, we told you Hornaday and Bodine are Texas winners, but they've been slipping in the points. They are looking for some of that old Texas magic. Still to come on The Setup, Brendan Gaughan is loving 2013 so far, but it was a decade ago that he had a calendar year that was the best and worst of times. Driver number 62 tells us how he feels about that season 10 years later.
My career was looking like it was going in a certain direction, and it wasn't until later that it became a big bummer because it becomes the last really shining moments of my career.
Plus, the entire country has been mourning for Oklahoma victims. This week, James Busher, a Texas native, stepped in to help. It wasn't just a publicity stop, and he wasn't alone. Busher and our Rick Allen talk about their emotional week in Moore, Oklahoma, when The Setup returns.
The Monster Mile.
Expect the unexpected.
Darrell Wallace Jr. putting their names on the pole.
Youngest pole winner in Camping World Truck Series history.
As the trucks get ready to roll, we have the youngest front row ever in NASCAR's top 3 series.
Green flag, we're underway in Dover. It's been all Darrell Wallace Jr.
What a great day for Bubba. He gets a new sponsor. He goes out and dominates the first half of the race.
The truck I'm keeping my eye on is that 94 Chase Elliott. That truck is spinning fast since they unloaded.
What a season it's already been for Jeff Burton.
Doing an awesome job here, running up in the top 5. Here comes Ryan Blaney in the 3rd spot. He's showing a lot of strength. He's been in the top 5 just about the entire race.
The Monster Mile, one of the toughest rings that they will ever take on.
Great finish for Bubba Wallace. He salvaged a top 10 finish.
And the same with Jeff Burton. He persevered, got a top 10 finish. Chase Elliott races his way right to the front.
Chase Elliott, he comes on with a solid top 5.
Ryan Blaney, another young man. Great finish. 3rd place for Ryan. It's a great day, and it's fun to see these kids do so well.
The young guys put a whooping on the old guard last week in Dover. Jeb Burton, the most consistent of all of our babyface drivers. Burton is 2nd in points. That's Ryan Blaney having a little fun. He finished 3rd last week. He starts 6th here in Texas tonight. And Darrell Wallace is making his first Texas truck start, but he will do so from his worst starting position of the year. 4 in a row at Texas, a feat accomplished by Brendan Gaughan, has never been duplicated. Now, if you're new to our series, you may not realize that Gaughan was gone from a truck for several years. But how does he feel about the year that he almost won the championship? Has 10 years taken away some of the sting?
Brendan Gaughan has taken off.
Glad to have him back full-time. Came also close to winning that championship back in 2003 and hasn't been back full-time in the series till this year.
We're going to win these, man. It's so fun to have Shane Wilson. It's so fun to have everybody that's here supporting me and taking care of me. I'm ecstatic. I haven't been this happy in years.
In 2003, the driver crew chief team of Brendan Gaughan and Shane Wilson won 6 truck races, twice as many as any other competitor. Going into the final race of the year, they had a 26-point lead on the competition.
That was a great moment of my life. It was the team that my dad and my family owned. The main thing was everybody said nobody could do it from the West Coast. All the original Craftsman Truck Series teams then were from West Coast, and all had moved east. We were the only team left, and nobody said you could win from there, and we put it on everybody. We just flat out whooped them.
We were probably the best team that year. You know, we led to points, more races than anyone else that year, led to most laps of anybody that year. We almost could have sealed the deal in Phoenix. We broke a valve spring, and right at the end of the race with like 10 laps to go, Phoenix led up to Homestead, but Homestead definitely, that was our bread and butter, those 1.5 mile tracks that year.
Trouble up in the wall.
And the caution flag now comes out. Brandon is around. Big problems. Our point leader gets spun around and hit hard into the wall.
I don't believe it. All because they were coming to the end.
Oh, he hit very hard.
My. Oh, my goodness.
The good thing was I don't remember the race. I got hit pretty hard that day, but I never saw the wreck until about 2.5, 3 years ago. Never watched it. Just didn't need to see it. You know, I didn't want to remember all of it. But for me, we were going to Penske the next year. Things looked great. You know, I had Kodak coming on board. So to me, it was a bummer that we didn't get the championship, but my career was looking like it was going in a certain direction. And it wasn't until later that it became a big bummer because it becomes the last really shining moments of my career.
A decade later, Brendan and Shane are back together, finding comfort in the familiar.
For me, it's been very relaxing. It's kind of a known commodity. It's just you go to work, you do your job, and I don't have to worry about what he's thinking or not.
We can be 20th on practice, and as long as I have a feel the race truck has, and Shane says that the lap times are what they need to be and the truck is doing what he likes, we'll both smile at each other while everybody's in half panic mode. We just kind of give each other a wink and a chuckle and go, yeah, we'll be all right. It's been great, but that's what Richard Childress expects. And that's what Richard Childress Chevrolets are built for, is no matter what series it is, they're built to win races and be up front and go fast. You know, Shane had a meeting while I was gone, and somebody said to Shane, you know, they were trying to say, well, you guys haven't won yet. And Shane had to come back to Richard that said, kid hasn't won in 10 years. And I laughed and I went, yeah, but we're going to win a lot this year. And to do it at Texas would just kind of be, that was my first win ever. 2002 was my first NASCAR Camping World Truck win was at Texas. It was my last win 10 years ago. It would be neat. You kind of look at a kind of a cool circle and say it came back. But that's what I'm happy about is the guys are buying into me and Shane's antics. Me and Shane are back together like, 2004 never happened, and everything's great.
Great story, and today is 11 years to the day since Brendan's first career NASCAR victory, which happened to be at Texas, June 7th, 2002. This season, Brendan has been knocking on the door of that 9th career win. No doubt he would be fired up if it comes here tonight at one of his favorite tracks. Moore, Oklahoma is only 170 miles away from here in Fort Worth, Texas. So a lot of people in this area have friends and family up there in Oklahoma, myself included. And now our Rick Allen spent the entire week in Moore, Oklahoma, not shaking hands and taking pictures, but working, rebuilding families' lives. Now, Rick, I know you don't want a lot of publicity for this, but you now have firsthand experience. You've seen things that a lot of us can only imagine.
Yeah, Krista, I had the opportunity, thanks to Steve Turner, to go straight from Dover to Moore, Oklahoma, right after our last race. And one of the things I think that hit me right away is my mind going in was I was going to help rebuild. Once I got there, I realized that we were weeks away from rebuilding, and the focus had to change to cleanup. And so I made a phone call right away to Steve Turner. He sent heavy equipment and a crew to help me while we tried to help the families right there in Moore, Oklahoma. And one of the things I think that was probably the biggest shock was that going in thinking rebuilding and then cleaning up, it was like taking someone's life and moving it from the slab that their house used to stand on and moving it to the curb. And it was a difficult time, the 5 days that we spent there. But I was thankful that the Busher family, both James and his wife Chris, were able to join us out there on Wednesday. And right now, James Busher joining Ray Dunlap.
James Busher ready to go racing here at Texas, and I know you had an interesting week. Tell us about the adventure in Oklahoma.
It has been a crazy week for me, and it normally is when we're racing here at Texas Motor Speedway. But, we got the opportunity to go work with Rick Allen and some of the guys from Wolfpack Rentals that Mr. Turner sent up there to help him out on Wednesday. And it was just, you try to prepare yourself for going and doing something like that and what you're going to see when you get there. And, the pictures and what you see on the news don't do it justice. If you go there and see it with your own eyes, it's really heartbreaking and really hard to take in. But, those families up there and everybody from Moore need everybody's help. We played a small part. I played a very small part. Rick was there for a couple days working hard. And, it was a humbling experience for sure.
I know it was much appreciated, your help there. Let's take it back to this race at Texas. What a big deal would it be for you to get a win here at this track?
It would be huge. We made some changes after qualifying, so we'll be starting at the back like last week. And, our Rouge Chevy was driving good for qualifying, just still lacking some speed. So hopefully we figured it out and be able to drive up through the field. But we've come close to winning some races here at Texas Motor Speedway, and it'd be pretty sweet to win in front of the hometown crowd.
All right, we wish you good luck. That is James Busher. Last year's champion has yet to get a top 5 this season.
And I know for James, his wife Chris, their friends Rick Allen and his uncle Ken, the work they did this week did not go unnoticed. Coming up, we will steer things back to tonight's race as the boys upstairs wage a war. Youth versus experience. Who wins out tonight? Well, what is it about a track that allows a driver to own it? Momentum breeds confidence. Does that spell trouble for the rest of the field?
We're underway from Texas. Here comes Johnny Sauter. Looking to the inside. Green line for the lead. For the lead, Johnny Sauter has the inside line and has the advantage. Takes the spot away from his teammate.
Now drive away and win this.
Johnny Sauter will win at Texas. Sauter trying to go back-to-back at Texas Motor Speedway. Gets to the inside and by the 7 of Parker Kligerman. Sauter back out in front of Texas. Looking to become just the 3rd driver ever to sweep at Texas. Checkered flag in the air. Sauter wins at Texas.
He's back in victory lane at Texas Motor Speedway.
Incredible numbers. Johnny Sauter jokes that he doesn't know what he likes more about Texas, the track or his grandma's home cooking. He has had what seems like home field advantage. In fact, he has been in the top 10 here in 7 of his 9 career starts. And he is on the pole again, as we said, here at Texas. He swept the races last year, and so far he has dominated. Very strong in practice and on the pole tonight. He is standing by with Ray.
And he jumped out of a truck that has just gone around to wave to the fans. That's pretty cool. And I guess we should just call you Mr. Texas. You got another win in you tonight?
I don't know. That's a good question. You know, this racetrack last year in the spring, or I guess the summer, early summer race, you know, the track got really loose for us, and we were able to make the adjustments to get it right. And last fall we were tight and had to free it up. So yesterday in practice we were really loose. So hopefully we've got the right adjustments in it. Just proud of everybody on the Carolina Nut Curb Records Toyota. And that lap was kind of a shocker to me, I guess. So I'm just proud of everybody at ThorSport. We just got to try to keep it going here. 3 in a row here would be really sweet.
They won practice, won the pole, and now hoping to win another race right here. Hermie?
Well, Ray, the 3 team of Ty Dillon had a difficult week at Dover last week. You guys looking to rebound. So far, so good. Qualified second. In one of the racetracks, you've got one of your best records as a driver.
Yeah, definitely. Texas has been really good to me in my career. So our Bass Pro Shop Chevy was really fast in practice, and I'm really looking forward to tonight. I think we got a great shot at it. If there's any place I want to win, it's for sure here. I need another cowboy hat and some of them 6-shooters.
That's Ty Dillon. He'll start off at P2.
So we've heard from our front row. Now let's go upstairs where Rick, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip have the insider info for tonight's race, or at least some very strong opinions. Let's ask the analysts what to expect.
No shortage of opinions up here, Krista. One of the things I think we need to talk about is the kids in this field tonight. We've had a lot of success early from these kids, but who is one of the younger drivers that might get to victory lane tonight, Phil?
Well, one of those younger drivers has already been to victory lane. It was Atlanta last year, another 1.5 miles, and it was Ty Dillon, the young man we just heard from. All the talk in the garage area was that the 3 truck is the fastest truck. He was the fastest truck on average lap time for the entire practice session, so everybody thinks that the 3 truck is a truck to beat tonight.
I'm going with 4. Jeb Burton. He is going to be amazing tonight. I love this kid. He gets it. He came to this sport with a lot of enthusiasm. He figured out how to harness that enthusiasm, however. He ran 5th in the first race of the year at Daytona. That's the biggest track. Then we went to Martinsville, the littlest track, and he ran 3rd there. So obviously, he knows how to race on all different tracks. He's fast. He's been on the pole 3 times in 7 starts this year. He rolls off 3rd tonight. I think Jeb Burton, his daddy's been to victory lane in the Daytona 500. I think he learned from that experience. I think Jeb Burton gets his first win here tonight.
All right, enough about the kids. Let's talk about, well, the veterans. You've got 3 guys who have won multiple times here. In Todd Bodine, 6 wins. Brendan Gaughan, 4 wins. And Ron Hornaday, 3 wins. What do you think about the old guys?
Well, Todd Bodine grabbed his first win of 6th here at Texas. He started in the 22nd position. Guess where he's starting tonight? 22nd. Todd Bodine has been solid this year. He started the season leading Daytona, got turned sideways in the trial, hung onto that truck somehow, and wound up with an 11th place finish. He's really good at Texas. Philly won last year. Not only did he win last year, he spun out and won the race. That's hard to do. I think Todd Bodine is the elder statesman that we need to watch out for tonight.
We spent a lot of time talking about Brendan Gaughan. I think he's the guy that's going to get back to victory lane for the first time in 10 years. I was talking to him yesterday in the garage area. He has that bounce in his step. I said, are you and Shane on the same page? He said, absolutely, just like we were back in 2003. And as we saw in his own words, he said, and all our guys are buying into it too. So that team is poised to be really good tonight.
My guy won last year. Yours won 10 years ago. I think I got the upper hand in this one.
You can have it.
When Shane and Brendan are on the same page, that can mean bad news for the rest of the field. Krista?
And I just love the debate, elders versus the kids. Love that battle. Hey, don't forget about David Starr. He's a home state favorite. There you see David getting ready for his race in his home state of Texas. The green flag is getting closer. We will wrap up the setup when we return to Texas Motor Speedway next. You're watching The Setup. This setup is brought to you by Camping World, America's largest retailer of RVs, parts, accessories, and service. Visit campingworld.com today. Sunday on race day, Jeff Gordon talks about his streak of bad luck. Wow. Plus, the boys weigh in on Danica's first Pocono start and a discussion on that 48 restart controversy. Don't miss NASCAR race day, Sunday at 10 Eastern, only on Speed. So who is hot in Texas? Ty Dillon and Joey Coulter. Neither one has finished worse than 7th here at this track. Ty actually just racing by me moments ago. Now, we told you Matt Crafton was consistent this year. He's also been consistent at this track, but they will all be chasing the pole sitter, Johnny Sauter. Ray, who else?
I'll tell you, Chris, I've got to watch the number 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr. They call him Bubba, but we've been calling him very, very fast each and every week here in the Camping World Truck Series. And tonight, if he were to get his first career win, it will be without his crew chief, Jerry Baxter. Now, that was a very tough decision for Jerry to make. He said, I think we're good enough to win tonight, and I would hate to not be here. But his daughter Carly's graduation is tonight back in North Carolina. So he jumped on a plane and headed home. He said, I'll regret this for a week if I miss this win, but I'd regret missing my daughter's graduation for a lifetime. So Jerry Baxter not here. Rick Wren will be calling the shots. Hermie?
Well, Ray, we talk about the length of this race tonight. One of the longest races on the circuit, 250 miles. I'm a pit reporter, so I'm going to be watching pit road to see what crew chief is making the pit calls. 2 tires, no tires, get their track position in clean air at the end of this race. I think this race could be won or lost by who makes a call on pit road. Krista?
We know it's going to be a good one. Johnny Sauter on the pole, his teammate Matt Crafton leading the points, but last year's top point contenders still searching for that winning feeling. Who will ride their steel horse into victory lane tonight? It's truck racing under the lights at Texas.
It was the youth movement who marched onto the Monster Mile and staked their claim in NASCAR history. However, it was Rowdy who schooled the field for a second time this season. Saddle up as the Stampede will let loose in Texas. In true Texas fashion, the stage will be bigger, speeds faster, the moves bolder. When this series hits the circuit, it will be more intense than wrangling a raging bull. There will be no place to hide. Can the young guns keep their sights set on victory in the Lone Star State, or will it be the more experienced to steer clear of the carnage? The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is coming up from Texas.
Welcome to Texas Motor Speedway. It's this 1.5 miles, the next stop for the Camping World Truck Series. It's race number 7 of the 2013 season. A perfect evening for racing. Once again, under the lights for the Truck Series. They're all in line on pit road, getting ready for tonight's race. Chad Hockenbraugh, first time in a truck, but he's got a lot of pressure on him. Kyle Busch Motorsports looking for the team championship. Brendan Gaughan has won here 4 times, but that was nearly a decade ago. He is definitely one we will be watching tonight as he can get to victory lane at this racetrack. Ty Dillon, another one that we'll be watching for because he's going to start on the front row and probably looks better than any other driver in a cowboy hat. And that's what you are able to garner here at Texas Motor Speedway. Who can corral the trophy tonight? We're going to find out. But first, let's go trackside for pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats for the presentation of colors by the Keller ISD Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. And for tonight's invocation, it's offered by Texas Alliance Raceway Ministries chaplain Brett Schisler.
Most Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening and we thank you. We thank you for this opportunity to be here and to pray together as free people. We come to you together tonight, Lord, and we thank you for the men and women all over the world that help to keep us free. We come to you also tonight and we ask for your safety. We ask you to be with the drivers, the crews, the safety workers, and all of us, not only here tonight, but on our way home. It's in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we come and we pray. Amen.
And here to perform our national anthem, please welcome country recording artist and star of the Troubadour Texas television show from Nevada, Texas, Matt Caldwell.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Matt Caldwell, and a big thank you to the Remax skydiving team for their interest here into the Speedway.
Final high fives for the drivers and crews as they climb in to their trucks and get ready for 167 laps at Texas Motor Speedway. And welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. Here's a racetrack that was built back in 1996, but has groovy speed. And Michael will tell you more about that. We're also going to talk about adjustments. Who will be able to make the correct adjustments in tonight's race as we will race under the lights. Hello, everyone. Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons. I'm Rick Allen. We're coming to you once again for the 7th race of the 2013 season. And we talked a little bit about groovy speed. Explain that, Michael.
I love the way that sounds. We're at the Wild Asphalt Circus. We're going to jump in these trucks and run over 190 miles an hour down into the corner. Is that amazing enough? And when you get to the corner, the groovy part, there's room to go everywhere. If some guy's in your lane, move some to another direction. Make another line around the corner. I love it. That's what makes racing here so much fun. The thing that's coolest about it all to me, over 190 miles an hour in a pickup truck. That's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
They practiced yesterday under the sun. We're racing under the lights.
Yeah, that's the thing that really concerns the crew chiefs is the fact that they did not run one lap on this racetrack at the time we're going to race. In the fall, they do practice at night, and it's a lot more predictable. But all the crew chiefs said, I said, okay, is this track going to loosen up or tighten up? Half of them say it's going to loosen up.
Yeah.
The other half says it's going to tighten up. So right now, the adjustments that these guys make on pit road, I think, are going to be key to winning this thing.
And how about the crew chief and driver communication in those adjustments, making adjustments over 167 laps?
I just love the fact that this race is long enough to where you can get on pit road and work on your truck. You can make some adjustments because there are going to be a lot of pit stops.
Not an extra set of tires for this race for these guys,
That's right.
too.
And we've already heard that Brendan Gaughan and Shane Wilson seem to be clicking right now. So they may be the favorites as we get ready to fire the engines. Let's go down for tonight's command.
And now, race fans, to give the command, please welcome back guest of WinStar World Casino, Miss Lydia Durrani.
Drivers, start your engines!
Trucks have come to life. The drivers are strapped in. Who will be victorious at Texas Motor Speedway tonight? Will it be a young gun? Maybe they get their first win tonight. Sun is setting. Trucks are rolling. Nothing better than racing under the lights at Texas Motor Speedway. Starting grid will roll across the top of your screen. Johnny Sauter yesterday grabs the pole. Ty Dillon will be joining him on the front row. We were going to ride along with a few different drivers that will carry cameras for us. Mikey?
How about let's climb in with Joey Coulter, the 22-year-old from Miami Springs, Florida. He finished second in Kansas earlier this year. He was third here last year, also got his first win a year ago. So watch for Joey to be strong during the course of this event.
Michael, we're also going to ride along with the 29 truck of Ryan Blaney. Remember, Ryan's the youngest winner ever in the history of this truck series when he won at Iowa last year. He's 5th in points, and he will start that Cooper Standard Ford from the 6th spot.
How about hopping in with Jeb Burton? I talked about him in the opening. He's got a good view of the front row starting in the 3rd spot. He's 20 years old from Halifax, Virginia. This is only his 12th start, and a lot of people in the garage area think this truck can win tonight.
Mikey, how about the guy that's going for 3 in a row here at Texas? Johnny Sauter, and he's starting from the pole in that Carolina Nut Curb Records Toyota. Remember, going for 3 in a row here. He said earlier today it would be really cool.
That's some Brendan Gaughan stuff there.
Yes, it is.
Let's talk a little bit about a driver making his first ever start in the Camping World Truck Series, Hermie Sadler.
Well, Rick, one of the cool things about the Camping World Truck Series, what a tremendous crop of rookies and young drivers we've seen. Ryan Blaney, Jeb Burton, Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott. The list goes on and on. Well, tonight, watch out for the 51 truck. It's not Kyle Busch, it's Chad Hockenbraugh. He makes his first start. This is his first of 4 starts he will have this 51 truck this year for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Qualified outside the top 20, but very good in practice. He'll be fun to watch tonight. Ray?
Hermie, I don't think there's any place in America where they make a bigger deal about Victory Lane than right here at the Texas Motor Speedway. And 11 years ago today, Brendan Gaughan pulled into Victory Lane in NASCAR for the very first time. That and his next 3 wins at Texas all came consecutively, but his last win was 140 races ago. How long ago was that? 3,493 days ago was the last time Brendan Gaughan stood here in this Victory Lane at Texas. I think tonight that could change. The 62 truck is very good. He loves this track, and I got a feeling I might be interviewing Brendan Gaughan right here in Victory Lane later tonight.
Guys, let's see if we can talk to Brendan Gaughan here. Hey, Brendan Gaughan, Phil Parsons up in his speed booth. You got a copy?
Got you, Phil.
Ray just told us 11 years ago to the day you won your first race here in the Camping World Truck Series. How about tonight?
Thanks for reminding me how long it's been. You know, our South Point Chevy was fast in practice, and I jokingly said with Shane that he had to screw up for us to qualify this well, so we're probably going to race bad, but I think we got one hell of a Chevrolet for tonight. It did what we wanted in practice. Both RCR Chevys, 2nd and 4th, and going to try to burn this high groove in here under caution laps and go forward on the outside.
Okay, you guys tested here a couple of weeks ago. Now, how important was that?
I think it definitely paid off. You look at both our Chevys up front here. Normally, we're not that fast as far as single car runs, and that doesn't normally concern me. I like good race trucks, and Shane builds good race trucks. So I think it helped a ton, and hopefully it's going to translate into the race like it did for qualifying.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
Thanks, guys. Thanks to all the fans. Hope you enjoy the show.
Brendan Gaughan always puts on a great show.
Rick, we talked in the setup about the 31 truck of James Busher, how they've overcome a lot of problems this year to finish a lot of laps. Just hadn't had the speed that we saw out of him last year when he won the championship. Another problem tonight that he'll have to overcome. That truck, they switched a carburetor after qualifying. He said it drove perfect. It didn't run. They thought something was wrong with it. So they changed it, and he'll start from the rear of the field.
Didn't they do that one time before and win somewhere last year?
They don't mess up too often. I'd just like to see some speed out of this guy tonight. This is his kind of track. You know what he's done on 1.5 miles. He's won a lot of races on them. And Texas is exactly that, 1.5 miles. And there's tons of speed. Camping World track description shows you 1.5 miles in length, and the corners are banked 24 degrees. That means these pickup trucks can lean on that banking.
And remember, these guys will probably run faster tonight than the pole.
WinStar World Casino 400. Take a look at our race analysis. This one, 167 laps, just over 250 miles. It's about 400 kilometers, hence the name, the WinStar World Casino 400.
And you see that pit window somewhere between 50 and 55 laps. That means these guys more than likely will have to stop 3 times, cannot make it on 2.
Looks as though Johnny Sauter has chose the inside line for the start of this race. Ty Dillon will be on the outside to start this one when the green flag flies.
And you know, the starts and the restarts in the truck series are some of the best in all of NASCAR. These guys get a tremendous draft off the other trucks because they're so big and boxy. And so when they go down into turn 1, don't be surprised if Jeb Burton isn't on the inside of the front row trying to get the lead into turn 1, and then the same thing off turn 2 down the back straightaway. A lot of action in this first couple of laps.
How many laps do you think it'll take Brendan Gaughan to get right up to the wall?
Not many.
He's already on the high side, so.
Yeah.
you know, he makes him happy, and he started a lot better tonight than he's started lately. It'll be fun to watch him go.
We're about to see how well everyone starts as they're working their way into the quad. Here comes the green flag. We're underway from Texas.
Well, there were 3 wide into turn 1, but Jeb Burton did not make that move. He didn't get the start that he needed. There goes Miguel Paludo down on the inside of him.
Yeah, Timothy Peters right behind Miguel Paludo. You see Brendan, he is up on the high side right now. Now he tucks in behind Ryan Blaney.
Working their way into 3 and 4. Again, speeds upwards of 190 miles an hour as they go into turns 3 and turns 1.
Makes you wonder if maybe Burton missed a shift or something on that start. He was really well off of that front row when they came across the start-finish line. So if he did do that, it could cause him problems later in this race for that engine.
Certainly good. And I see he moves up the hill, moves Brendan way up the hill, and that opens up the bottom for Miguel Paludo.
Out in front, Johnny Sauter has the lead. Ty Dillon running second, Ryan Blaney. Brendan Gaughan, Jeb Burton, your top 5. Moving to the high side, you see the 88 of Matt Crafton.
Remember, good tires, these guys, cool racetrack, they're going to be running wide open around here. It's going to be hard to make any ground up early on in a run on the high side, because if they're running wide open on the inside, it's hard. You're going a longer way around.
It's not taking them long to spread out, is it? Look how high Matt Crafton was when he came off turn 2 there. He had his number 88 Menards truck way up the hill. Here's Jeb Burton fighting back. He's on the outside of Miguel Paludo.
Miguel Paludo so strong at the 1.5 mile Kansas Speedway. He works to the inside, trying to get back by Jeb Burton, who's running that higher line.
See Brendan Gaughan lined up to the inside. Now Brendan's going to move up a little bit up the racetrack. Now in behind Jeb Burton. And it opens up the bottom for Timothy Peters. Now they're side by side.
Riding, looking out the back of Jeb Burton's number 4.
You know, we talked about Jeb's enthusiasm and his exuberance to race one of these trucks and how we've watched him charge, but yet be smart with that charging. I wonder if maybe he spun his tires or what happened to him on that start, because he really lost a lot of ground. Let's go inside that truck and listen. Oh,
he lights it up, didn't he?
Just spun it up. That tells you how much power these pickup trucks have and how hard everything they do is. You can't take anything for granted. If you just mat the gas, you'll spin your tires and get beat on the start. You want to go really bad, but you better squeeze it to it or you're not going to go at all.
Brendan Gaughan making the move on the low side of the racetrack now, trying to get by Jeb Burton.
What a great run through the center of the corner Brendan got that time.
Jeb Burton running the higher line, Brendan Gaughan down low. Timothy Peters back behind him in the 17.
Timothy had a good truck in practice too. I was talking to him down in the garage area this afternoon, and he said he really likes what he has. And right now you can see he's all over the back of Jeb Burton. Can run really low. Do you see how low he had that truck right on the white line? Looks like it might pay off for him.
Looks like Jeb's struggling a little bit through the center of 3 and 4.
Timothy Peters taking advantage of that with a good run through 3 and 4. Kept that momentum up, got to the inside of the 4, and now looks as though he'll get by the 4 of Jeb Burton on the inside.
Not so fast. He didn't clear him off turn 2, and that gave Jeb the chance to fight back on the outside. What is he saying, Ray? Jeb Burton
never said a word about the initial start of the race, Michael, but he did come on to his crew chief Mike Hillman Jr. moments ago and say, I am plowing coming off of the corner. So truck must be very, very tight for Jeb Burton.
Well, we were able to jump in that truck, Ray, on that start, and he really spun his tires. So that's probably why he didn't say anything. He knew he has to do a better job on the starts that will come up later.
Pretty good run for Ty Dillon now as he's all over the back bumper of Johnny Sauter for the lead.
Phil, you had some intel on that 3 truck of Ty Dillon that he could run wide open lap after lap, and he really liked his truck in practice. Conditions are going to change. It's cooler now than it has ever been since they've been on the track. Will that truck continue to be this good, or will they have to adjust it on some of these pit stops?
I was talking to Marcus Richmond, and I said, what's this truck going to do? He said, I think it's going to free up. It did last June when we raced this race. It got freer as the night went on.
I like what it's looking like right now. He's definitely faster than Johnny Sauter. Can't make the move right now because, like you said, the fastest way around the track's right on the bottom. You can see Ty takes his entry up the hill a little bit, maybe to try to gain some momentum on the exit. He's faster than Sauter, I believe. If he can ever get a move on him, maybe drives away from these guys.
Right now he's following in his tire tracks, as is the 29 of Ryan Blaney. Those 3 have separated themselves. About a second back to fourth place Miguel Paludo.
I talked to Ryan Blaney down in his hauler this morning, and he said that he actually is going to go to Iowa tomorrow in case Joey Logano doesn't get there from Pocono, depending on the weather in Pocono. So Ryan's not done racing possibly this weekend. He's definitely going to Iowa tomorrow morning.
Phil, let's listen to this. He's right on the lead, or right on the tailgate of our second place truck. See if he can go wide open. He definitely,
it doesn't sound like he has to.
Out of it.
Not all the way out of it. That's some really good stuff there, because that's the leaders of the race, and Ryan Blaney's running right on their tailgate.
Maybe using that draft a little bit to stay up with those guys?
Yeah, I like that. You can see Ty Dillon up ahead is all over our leader. Blaney's using the draft to keep up, just rolling off the gas a little bit on entry, Rick, and then wide open the rest of the way. And that's our battle for the lead.
Top three trucks all separated by about 0.3 of a second now as Johnny Sauter continues to hug that white line as he goes through the turns and down the backstretch.
I like what I'm seeing out of Dillon. He's not just content with running in the same tire tracks of Johnny Sauter. See the entry? He goes up high. He might have the move on him here.
Whoa,
he does. Oh, they're sideways.
Little contact as they work their way through 3 and 4, and Ty Dillon takes the lead away from Johnny Sauter. Here comes Ryan Blaney taking second away.
Boy, Johnny is really fortunate that did not pull him around. When we had Ty Dillon so close, you see a little bit of damage to the right rear quarter panel of that 98 truck.
You know, I think that Ty Dillon didn't expect Johnny Sauter to come. He's been dead on the bottom. I don't think he expected him up that high on the turn, and he just ran a line through the middle of the corner, and they got a lot closer than I know those two wanted.
He probably made Johnny a little bit loose, and Johnny had to use that extra racetrack to catch the back of that truck.
Well, use those 4 tires of Ty Dillon to hold him on the racetrack.
Look who's starting to creep up the hill. A good run off turn 4 to the bottom, because Brendan Gaughan was up on the top in 3 and 4. Got him some good momentum, makes the pass on Sauter. Sauter's falling back. Check this out. Watch how close these trucks get.
You were right. Johnny been on the bottom of the racetrack the whole time. Look at him get sideways.
And let's ride along with Johnny Sauter.
And let's listen to him.
Ooh, you hear the tires?
Woo! That was a moment right there.
And I know I say this a lot, but we're talking 170 miles an hour. and your tires are squalling in your pickup truck? How many of you home ever had your tires squall in your pickup truck at 170?
Hopefully not too many.
Ty Dillon has taken the lead away from Johnny Sauter. Brendan Gaughan, 4-time winner. In the top 3, Ryan Blaney, young gun up there as well, trying to get to victory lane once again. Could Ty Dillon do it here in Texas? Stay with us. Tomorrow, the ARCA Racing Series takes on Pocono. Don't miss the door-to-door battle to finish, as these drivers will hold nothing back for victory. The ARCA Racing Series from Pocono tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, live and only on Speed. That young man, Ryan Blaney, will also be running an ARCA race at Michigan next weekend.
And right now, he's running 3rd and doing a heck of a job. Watch him wheel that thing. A lot of effort of back and forth on the wheel, because Phil, you're just uncertain what you have. You're running wide open into these corners, and you just don't assume it's going to stick, so you got to work the wheel a little bit.
But look how smooth he was doing it, though.
Ray, normally pretty interesting radio communication from the 98 team. How about now that Sauter has dropped back a few spots?
He's been fairly calm so far, Rick, but he did jump on the radio moments ago and say, I'm extremely loose in the middle, and that makes it even tighter coming up off. He said, I'm a 6 loose and a 5 tight, so they've got some work to do on that Carolina Nut Tundra, Hermie.
Well, Ray, the 62 of Brendan Gaughan was a little bit free for the first 6 or 7 laps on the racetrack, but as his truck has continued to get tighter in this fuel run, he is making up ground on the leaders. Now, the interesting thing is, we talked about no laps on this track at this time of the evening in practice. Brendan is moving around a little bit. He likes the high side in 3 and 4, but the surprising part, he's digging at the bottom of 1 and 2 and making up time.
Thanks, Herbie.
You know, if your truck handles right, Phil, you just stay on the bottom. It's shorter. We know we're almost running wide open. And the reason why Brendan runs high on the track is to make up for what his truck won't do on the bottom. You like a driver who, if they enjoy high, they just don't dedicate themselves to it. If it's good on high on one end and good on the bottom the other, run the bottom. And that's what I think Brendan, he has a tendency to go high and really look hard for it to work there. But tonight, he's working on both ends. I like that.
A little bit further back in the field, Crafton.
Watch these cats come off turn 4 a minute ago, Rick. You think these guys don't have their hands full racing these trucks? Looks like Joey Coulter's got a run on Quiroga. and almost sent Quiroga to the pit.
Half back on the bottom.
Not the way you want to go.
Looking inside.
Watch Joey has a run here, but the 77 is going to move up the racetrack right in front of him.
Whoa.
And that's at 165, 70 miles an hour.
I don't like that, but Joey's going to make the move. Now he's really strong on the top. Quiroga's up the hill a little bit, but he's able to keep it off the side of Coulter.
Saw Joey gave him a little bit of room there. He left at least a truck width between them. When Quiroga moved up half a truck width, they still had some room.
He better give him a little bit of room because he didn't off turn 4, and I imagine Armand remembered that.
Armand Quiroga with the Net 10 wireless sponsorship on the hood of his truck.
He's chasing the Daryl Gwynn Foundation truck of Joey Coulter. Daryl Gwynn does so many great things for his foundation, and we're all going to be fishing in Miami with Daryl. That's a great event he always has.
I tell you, Armand does such a great job. A 3-time champion at NASCAR Mexico, and really doing a super job here adjusting to these trucks. He's had 2 top 15 finishes his last 3 starts.
You know, I love what Armand's doing. Also, Miguel Paludo. We just see more and more out of him every week. We talked earlier in the year, him leading at Kansas and getting in a wreck with his teammate, but he's got the speed. He's got the speed that I'm looking for out of James Busher and haven't seen it, but Miguel can run fast. He's in the top 5 right now. You can see him here in his Duralon Chevy, and broke into the top 5 already.
And again, the 1.5 mile track that we ran at last at Kansas, Miguel Paludo had probably one of the best trucks in the field, and he and his teammate James Busher got into it, into the wall, and it ended the night. As we take a look at the 31, James Busher trying to move his way from starting in the back after changing a carburetor. He's made his way up to the 17th spot now.
Yeah, pretty good run so far. You see the 54 Bubba Wallace right there in front of him. Remember, Bubba has been extremely fast in another one of the KBM trucks this year. Dominated the first half of the race last week at Dover and still ended up with a top 10 finish. So James Busher looks like he's definitely improved on that truck.
Oh, look here. Armand's going back around Coulter. We saw Coulter and Armand get together off turn 4 earlier, and now looks like Armand Quiroga has figured out the bottom side and is going to almost make the pass.
And here comes Coulter once again with the run on the high side with that truck.
That's that aerodynamic we talked about, Rick. Those trucks put off such a big wake of air behind him, you can really pull up, and we watched Coulter take advantage of that. Oh, now he's going to try to side draft Armand. These two aren't getting along too well right now. You have to be careful. This is at a high rate of speed. You don't want to get mad and end your night this early.
See, Coulter finished second at Kansas in one of our other 1.5 miles. The 1.5 miles are so important to this series. We have 8 of them total. This is only the 3rd of 8, and these guys cannot settle this position.
And you talked about how important they are. We watched our champion last year, James Busher, get on a roll on these 1.5 miles, and that led him to this championship. He won 4 times. That's what you got to do, be strong on these tracks. And Ty Dillon right now leading the race is very strong.
Ty Dillon has just over half a second lead over Ryan Blaney as these two continue to fight for position.
They got her worked out, Rick, I think.
For now.
Ty Dillon has 15 career starts on 1.5 miles, 13 of those top 10s.
Ty Dillon's lone win also came at a 1.5 mile track. Welcome back. It's the WinStar World Casino 400 from Texas Motor Speedway, and Ty Dillon has been pulling away from second place Ryan Blaney, but the one that's been coming on as of late is the 62 of Brendan Gaughan.
What, the last 5 laps in a row, Brendan Gaughan had the fastest truck on the racetrack.
And look, Ryan Blaney has decided he's going to go up and try the Brendan Gaughan line. That's where Brendan was the last time through that corner. So Brendan said, that's fine, I'll go to the bottom. He couldn't. Oh, he almost crashes too.
Got a little loose there, you're clear.
Got a little loose there. That's what his spotter told him. And he's like, you're kidding me.
Yeah. And that's the difference between clearing Ryan Blaney and not. Ryan fought back on the outside. If Brendan would have been able to clear him, he could have pulled right up in front of him, and he would not have gotten sideways like this.
Remember what the spotter said, you got a little loose there.
Brendan said, yeah, I know I got loose.
I think that might be a lot loose.
That's a lot loose.
And that cost him all his momentum, Phil, but you're right. He had to change directions late in the corner, and the air just sucked off the right side of that truck, and he almost went around. Watch how crazy this looks from Ryan Blaney's view. There's Brendan. No, Brendan, don't do that. I'm not going to let you up.
I know you see him there, but it's all by
That's close.
Got a little loose there. You're clear.
Got a little loose there.
Clear by 4.
I think Ryan Blaney thought that they were all going to wreck, both going to wreck, because he lifted 2, and there wasn't anything in front of him.
So once again, out in front of the field, it's Ty Dillon, Ryan Blaney running second, Brendan Gaughan third, Johnny Sauter is fourth, Miguel Paludo running in the 5th spot, then Jeb Burton, Chastain, and another close call.
How about Ryan getting extremely loose there while Brendan was going around on the outside? Brendan hadn't even pulled up beside him yet, and Ryan got big time loose.
And Brendan ran a 10th faster than our leader, Ty Dillon, even with that pass. So he's going to just run Dillon right down. And if Dillon doesn't change his line, not only will he run him right down, he'll just drive right around the outside of him. These trucks are slipping and sliding now. They got 39 laps on their tires. They're not handling like they were early in the race, and you got to make some adjustments. Brendan is a master at that.
Hey, we're within 10 laps of green flag pit stops right now.
Yeah, we've talked about the pit window being 55 around there, but because of the qualifying and an impound, they don't have as many laps on this first run.
And the pace laps. So a lot of guys were talking about as early as 46 laps.
What if we went to break right now and then come back and we'll have green flag pit stops?
That is a great idea. You could be a producer.
I like our producer better than Max.
I was going to say, but the one we've got does a great job, so we're going to keep him there. We talked about Dakota Armstrong and the 60, now working by the 54 of Bubba Wallace, right?
And Rick, Bubba Wallace does not have his crew chief, Jerry Baxter, tonight. Jerry had to go back to North Carolina for his daughter Kaylee's graduation, but Bubba has been on the radio talking to general manager Rick Wren and saying, I am hitting the splitter all the way through the corner. The splitter, we got a trouble. David Starr looks like spinning on the backstretch.
Oh, it looks like the 51 of Chad Hockenbraw.
51 of Hockenbraw, hard into the inside wall. Whew. And the first caution comes out.
We've seen truck after truck try to spin out. I wonder if that was another deal where...
I can't get it in. It's fucking killed.
Wonder if it's another...
And once again, live events. I want to apologize for some of the vocabulary used. A tough situation there for Chad Hockenbraw in his first Camping World Truck Series start.
We've seen so many trucks sideways while racing side by side. Wonder if Hockenbraw got in a situation where he was racing alongside another truck and it just whipped around on him. He slid all the way down the back straightaway, so got out of control off turn 2.
Yeah, there was definitely another truck around him when that spin started.
This truck has won the last 2 events in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
If you've ever watched the Camping World Truck Series, especially on 1.5-mile tracks, the inside truck loses air on that spoiler when a truck comes on its outside. We've seen it over and over and over. Possibly could have caught Chad Hockenbraw. We're going to take a look and see what happened there as he climbs out of the truck and heads to the ambulance.
Oh, wasn't room there. He went to go around the lap truck of Jennifer Jo Cobb. It was a perfect storm for him, or the imperfect storm, because the leader, Ty Dillon, was on the outside of him. He made the move up to go around Cobb and wound up getting the air off of his right side because the leader was there and spun out and had a hard crash down the back straightaway.
Yeah, such a tough break for Chad here. Let's watch it again. You see he moves up to go around, as you mentioned, Jennifer Jo Cobb. At the same time, Ty was going around the outside, and that combination of going by the 10 truck and Ty being on the outside just made that the rear of that truck so light, and that got him sideways.
Chad Hockenbraw smacks the outside wall, then comes in and hits the inside wall as well. So the safety crew.
That's insult to injury there when you hit both walls.
Such high expectations coming in, and we're going to see Chad some more in this truck. Remember now, this is Chad's first race this year. He's also going to run a handful of nationwide races, but hasn't got to do any of those yet. So this is his first race since last October.
See why we don't go to break when I say? Because Mark Smith's a great producer. He knows there's action getting ready to happen. We were here for it too when that crash happened.
And now there's going to be action on pit road. I was talking with Brendan Gaughan yesterday after practice, and he talked about he thinks that his team has an advantage when they're on pit road. He thinks that his team is good enough that he can get him spots where he was fighting so hard with Ryan Blaney to try to get that position, and maybe a 1/10 of a second separated the two. Well, on pit road, a couple 1/10 of a second can change positions drastically for these teams.
Yeah, day in, day out, though, that 3 truck is going to be hard to beat on pit road. Ty Dillon's guys do a great job.
And Ty Dillon leads the field onto pit road as it is open. We go down to Hermie Sadler.
Well, Rick, Ryan Blaney in the 29, one of the few trucks talking about being free on the racetrack. They're going to take 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and an air pressure adjustment. The 62 of Brendan Gaughan, he likes his truck. He's concerned about the right front windshield. Some debris may have cut that windshield. A chassis adjustment also for Brendan. Ray.
4 tires and Sunoco fuel will go into this Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. For Ty Dillon, they're going to make a chassis adjustment on the left side. He said his truck has been pretty neutral through the center. You see Dillon on the left side. On the right side of your screen, the number 29. Now we'll go up to pit stall number 2. That's where Johnny Sauter is. And those guys are going to make a wedge adjustment. 1.5 rounds in. Sauter's pit stop takes quite a while. He's going to lose some spots on pit road. His crew team member Matt Crafton just rolls by.
A couple guys gaining some spots. We saw the 3 of Ty Dillon.
Truck out of gas there. Truck out of gas. They were squeezing some gas into the carburetor. There's a little tube that runs up to the cowl.
You can hear him trying to start it. Turning over but not starting.
We knew we were getting close to our fuel window.
So Ryan Blaney, who came onto pit road in the top 5, losing precious spots on pit road. But it's Chad Hockenbraun, his first start, bringing out our first caution. Under our first caution at Texas Motor Speedway and the WinStar World Casino 400 after 46 of our 167 laps. The 3 of Ty Dillon still out in front. Now, to find out what happened with the 29, let's go down to Hermie.
Well, Rick, he ran out of gas, and a little bit surprising here. Even I talked to the engine tuner Troy Couples. He was a little bit surprised at lap 43, 44 that they would be out of fuel as well. We heard Ryan Blaney talking about on the radio trying to keep it shaking to get to pit road. Now, what they're working on now, they finally got it running. They stayed on the lead lap. They're going to come back in at 1 to go to finish topping off. And now Doug Randolph is talking to the crew about what to do in the case of running out of fuel next time to get it going a little bit quicker. But these guys ran out of fuel a little bit sooner than they expected.
And so troubles for the 29 have put Ryan Blaney to the back of the field. Ty Dillon will bring him back to the green when we come back. Fast Friday continues from Texas Motor Speedway. Tomorrow on Speed from Pocono, Sprint Cup practice at 10 a.m. Eastern, then NASCAR Live at 11. Sprint Cup final practice following at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. The Pocono ARCA 200. Phil, you and I will be in Pocono for that race at 1 o'clock, and trackside rounds out the day at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Always a great event there at Pocono for the ARCA Series. They run twice there. Both times the Cup cars are there. They run on Saturdays.
Just got a text from my brother Daryl, and he said it finally stopped raining here.
Good.
And I don't have to I'm going to put the oars up. He thought he wasn't going to be able to get out of there. So I think we're going to see live ARCA racing tomorrow.
They didn't do much at all today.
No, they didn't. But we've had a fun day in Texas. Fast trucks. Groovy track.
Getting ready for a restart here too.
Restarts are my favorite part.
About RCR 1-2 off of pit road. We said that you don't often beat that 3 truck off pit road, and this guy's held serve.
Young man Jeb Bush starting in third. Jeb Burton, I'm sorry, darn it. He's starting in third spot. We saw him make a mistake on the first start of the race, spinning his tires. And let's see if he learned from that mistake and can make a run on the leaders.
Back in the second row. So it is Ty Dillon on the outside. Brendan Gaughan on the inside. Coming into the quad oval. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway.
Much better start that time by Burton.
Yeah, you can see how much he learned from that initial start of the race. How about Ty on the outside here?
Ty Dillon trying to keep the momentum up. Brendan Gaughan creeps up the track just a bit. 3 and 4 wide behind him as they go down the backstretch.
We saw Burton sideways too. Timothy Peters was all over his tailgate. Got young Jeb loose. But look at that run they're all making down into turn 3. They got to make hay while the sun shines. They get these chances, they're going to try to take advantage of them.
While the top 2 continue to fight for the lead, you've got the 88 of Matt Crafton that's got a great run, and he tucks in behind Ty Dillon.
Great pit stop by that team as well. Matt's guys got him out with the leaders, and he's going to take advantage of that.
And that draft was enough to push that 3 truck by the teammate Brendan Gaughan.
What about our man Armand Quiroga? He's up to the 3rd spot, trying to get past Crafton.
I watched Armand pass Matt Crafton before that caution flag came out. He's got a great net 10 truck.
And now working the inside of the track, trying to get by that 88. Momentum keeping the 88 just in front of that 77.
See right behind them, Jeb's fighting back on the outside. He's battling with Miguel Paludo. one of his teammates at Turner Motorsports.
Armand's got to be really careful down on the bottom, but he's able to squirt ahead of Crafton and get that pass completed. Very strong truck tonight for Armand. You don't win 3 Mexico championships if you're not a great racer, and Armand's proven that he's a great racer.
How about Ron Hornaday racing there, that green number 9? We haven't talked a whole lot about Ron. Remember, he's a 3-time winner here at Texas.
Here comes the 18 of Joey Coulter working to the outside, riding along with Johnny Sauter. That's the view he has as those two fight for position in front of him.
Hornaday deep into the corner is able to get ahead of Coulter and is going to bring Sauter along with him.
We used the word groovy earlier. There's also bumps through the turns on this racetrack.
Character. This racetrack has some character.
Oh, and around goes Joey Coulter in the 18, up into the outside wall. 2 Kyle Busch Motorsports trucks now having damage.
Oh, a great job by the entire field getting by Coulter as well.
He was running in the 8th spot. We're going to have to take a look and see if there was any contact made there, but it looked like that truck just went around on him.
It looked odd,
No,
but
dude, it just freaking like the... just freaking turned.
I thought the same thing. I thought it looked odd. Maybe he ended up having a soft tire or something like that, Michael. Maybe a left rear, something going down, or a right rear, because all of a sudden it looked like he wasn't even quite down in the corner yet, and the thing just swapped ends on him.
Ray Dunlap.
Guys, he just said on the radio he feels like maybe an axle broke or possibly a shock fell off or something. He said it was just so sudden when that thing turned. He said it has to be a mechanical failure.
Maybe that left rear tire feel. We can see it's down on that corner. That had all the signs of a left rear tire blowing out when he was going down the back. Let's see if we can look in and find out if that left rear is indeed. Well, he definitely.
I'm not sure that left rear was down. Yeah, I'm not sure it was down, but it was odd how that thing turned around. Now he had Johnny Sauter to his inside,
but that was in.
See how
it's down now. It's definitely down now.
I don't know if it got soft, but it snapped around. And the way he drove off from down there.
That's not a normal place where you see a truck get loose.
No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he was still driving straight almost when that thing got sideways.
Look at the job that Timothy Peters does.
Watch John West Townley. Watch this now. Watch this. When he comes back down the racetrack, John West is going to commit to the bottom.
Very close.
Peters had ever been a bit of a split second to decide what to do.
Right along with Joey.
Yeah, I think that left rear tire got soft. Something definitely happened to that truck.
And this is at probably the fastest part of the racetrack, right down into turn 3, close to 190 miles an hour. Ooh, there went John West. Tires are fresh, so they're really, really carrying a lot of speed. And the fact that he spun in the straightaway, that throws you off. I mean, you don't expect a guy to do what he did. And watch what Timothy Peters does. Just had an instant of a second to decide what to do.
He had James Busher at the 31 on the inside, so he couldn't turn left to the apron. He had to give James some room as well. Did a great job. Ooh, John West narrowly avoided the 18 as the 18 was coming down the hill.
Another look.
I'm thinking that left rear tire, I think, must have been soft, because we know that when it came off the wall, it was definitely down.
Yeah. And
you can see right there when that thing's swishing around there that left rear tire is soft.
There was nothing that Joey Coulter could have done to avoid that. He was just going down the straightaway and the thing swapped ends on him.
He was the most surprised guy here that thing swapped ends.
And a disappointed driver taking his helmet off. And they'll go to work on the 18 of Joey Coulter. This caution brought out by the 18 of Joey Coulter, going around as he entered turn number 3. Let's hear from him. He's with Hermie.
Joey's out of the truck, led. You're okay. 1 second you're going straight, next second you're going back. Was any idea what happened?
Not sure. Something in the either left rear or the right rear. We're not sure, but I was feeling pretty good, pointing the right direction, and all of a sudden I was pointing the wrong direction, and I can't tell if it was a shock or what. It happened really quick. I heard something break, and then yeah, I mean, it just went around, and it was hanging on for there. But it's terrible. I hate it for these Tundra, 18 Tundra guys, man. We had a really good truck. The pit stop that they just had was killer, and I really thought we were going to be able to drive it up front and go lead some laps. But these guys are tough. We'll get this thing back together. We'll go score some points and go get this championship at the end of the year.
All right, Joey Coulter going to try to go diagnose what the issue was with the 18.
Thanks, Hermie. Unfortunate now We've had 2 accidents on the track, and both have been Kyle Busch Motorsports trucks.
Got one bullet left here with Bubba Wallace.
And Bubba didn't have a very good qualifying effort, and he hasn't really made a lot of progress tonight. We've seen a lot of speed out of Bubba this year, so it'll be interesting to see after an adjustment if that truck comes to life.
And this is one of the places that Bubba's already been to test. I know before Charlotte, they got the KBM teams came here to test.
More on Bubba, Ray Dunlap.
They just came down pit road, guys. The reason he's back in 18th is he said, I need another adjustment. They put wedge in it, added fuel, no tires, but he's got about a 10-lap window over the other guys that came in and pitted on lap 44.
We talked about this being a long race, Rick. I like that. I like working on my truck right now. We can get it back later. Let's make the adjustments we think we need to get competitive.
Once again, RCR teammates side by side as they come through the quad oval. Green flag back in the air. Ty Dillon, Brendan Gaughan, side by side for the lead.
Saw Ron Hornaday think about making it 3 wide, getting down in turn number 1. Now we have 3 wide racing.
Ty's all over the side of Brendan. He squeezed him down pretty good, and it gave him a good run off turn 2. Matt Crafton's going to push Ty down the back straight, push him ahead of Brendan.
We got Herman pushing Brendan on the inside now.
Matt Crafton making the move, trying to take second away from Brendan Gaughan.
And we haven't talked a whole lot about it, but the draft is extremely important here at this racetrack with these trucks running these speeds.
Yeah, the trucks are very, very aerodynamic sensitive too, because they lean on that air with that big side of the truck. Makes it hard to hang on to it. I'm really impressed with Kuroga tonight. He's really fast, racing inside the top 5. Looks like he's got a truck that he can race him with. He just has to be ultra sensitive of that aerodynamic looseness that happens down on the bottom. We've seen him down on the bottom a lot. He's got to make sure he keeps a gap between him and the truck on the outside so that he doesn't get loose.
Net 10 Wireless, number 77, has been strong since the drop of the green flag. Still running up in the top 5.
Brendan's going to wrestle that second spot back away from the 88 of Matt Crafton. See Jeb Burton out to the outside of that 77 truck. Now Hornaday makes it 3 wide.
Big aggressive move by the 9 of Hornaday. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack, and the 77 falls back. Here comes Jeb Burton on the high side.
You know, this week Ron's been a little bit under the radar here. We haven't talked a whole lot about him. Didn't see a lot out of him in practice, but looks like he has a pretty good race truck.
How about the 31 of James Buescher? After starting at the back of the pack, he is all the way up to the 7th spot now in that 31.
This is a big night for he and that team. We talked about his success on mile-and-a-half racetracks. We also talked about that he hasn't won here in Texas. He's from this area, wants to get a win here badly. His best finish here, I think, is 6th twice. Now he's already up to the 7th spot, and we know where he started.
Well, you said at the top of the show that they needed to panic and they needed to make something happen. Started all the way back at the back and already up well into the top 10.
I think they got to push the go button.
James Buescher out of Plano, Texas. As you mentioned, best career finish at this track, 6th. Trying to change that as the battle for 4th continues. Jeb Burton on the high side, and Ron Hornaday continues to move to the front.
Well, I like the way that Hornaday truck looks, Michael.
I like it too. You can see him really aggressively making moves down on the bottom of the racetrack. He and Jeb had a bit of a disagreement at Martinsville earlier this season, and so it's good to see them racing together and not having any issues. Ron strong, driving away from Burton.
The high side working for Herman Quiroga in the 77. Very close call there as we saw the 31 get up close to the 77 as they came out of 2, now into 3. The 31 dives in there below the 77. Herman Quiroga drops back a spot.
Boy, James blasted it down in the corner, was able to clear Herman before they got to the center of the corner. Now we're watching teammates from Brad Keselowski Racing, Ryan Blaney. Remember, Ryan ran out of fuel on that caution flag, narrowly got back out without losing a lap.
They're racing for the 13th spot. There's nothing more unsettling for an owner of a NASCAR team to see a couple of your vehicles racing side by side and leaning on one another. We've seen issues earlier this year with the Turner Scott trucks at Kansas. James Buescher getting loose and wrecking Pluto. Then we just saw Brendan Gaughan and Ty Dillon racing really close together for Richard Childress Racing. And now Brad Keselowski's trucks are all over one another.
Just a few moments ago, the 29 of Ryan Blaney gets loose. You see him right in between the 54 Bubba Wallace and Ross Chastain, and he gets loose, loses some momentum.
And that 60 truck you see coming into the picture there, racing alongside of Blaney and Chastain, that's Dakota Armstrong. He's fast as well. And look who's coming to the front now, Miguel Pluto. We talked about speed out of him all year long. That moves him up to the A spot inside the top 10. I like this truck.
Caroline Chevrolet looking very strong as he was able to get by that 98 of Johnny Sauter. Now a battle for position once again. Hornaday and Burton fighting for the 4th spot. Burton fighting back on the outside now. Looks as though he's got the momentum to get by Hornaday.
These guys have gone back and forth a little bit. Let's see if Ron, who has the advantage down here in this end of the racetrack.
Riding along with Jeff Burton, you could just barely hear him get out of the gas as he was running that high line.
He'll take that 4th spot back. Running that middle lane there. Look at the acceleration he gets off the corner, Rick, when he runs that middle lane. Put a couple of truck links on Hornaday, who had his truck squeezed off. We talk about these trucks running 190 miles an hour and how fast they are, but compared to a Cup car, they don't have a ton of horsepower. So when you bind them up a little bit with all the boxy cab that they have on them, they just won't come off the corner. That's why after the tires heat up a little bit, you might see some more momentum on the high side because they keep those engines wound up.
Big trucks will actually run faster than the Cup cars through the center of the corner.
Ty Dillon has almost a second lead over Brendan Gaughan running in the 2nd spot. Ty Dillon, it's been quite a while since he's been to victory lane. Atlanta a year ago. Can he get back there tonight? Royals Baseball Night in America, presented by Ace Hardware, begins tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox. Ty Dillon still out in front of Brendan Gaughan. The gap now 0.4 of a second. Hermie.
Well, we were riding right there with the 29 of Ryan Blaney. He has 2 potential problems. Number one, obviously, he's very, very loose on the racetrack, losing a little bit of track position. Just lost the 12th spot to his teammate Ross Chastain. Also, earlier tonight, he ran out of fuel about 10 laps earlier than they'd anticipated. These guys were figuring by their practice runs, they could go anywhere between 52, 53, maybe even 54 laps on a tank of fuel. So now they're concerned that they're having an issue, maybe not picking up all the fuel in the fuel cell. So that could come back and halt the 29 as well. So Ryan Blaney, a couple issues he'll have to fight through to get a top 5 finish tonight.
Rick, look at what little input he's putting to the left into that wheel and how much he's steering it back to the right. Ryan has done an amazing job of saving this truck 2 or 3 times tonight. We've seen him really loose, and he just hangs on to it. I've been really impressed with this kid's truck control because it doesn't always seem to handle the way he needs it to, but he hangs on to it long enough to get the adjustments he needs so he can drive it.
We've always heard loose is fast. Loose is fast.
No, not that loose.
Crooked is not fast, and that's crooked.
You can see him giving up that spot and also trying to keep his heart from jumping out of his driver's suit because that's scary at these speeds.
Gap is starting to get a lot narrower between Ty Dillon and the 62 of Brendan Gaughan.
Guys, that's RCR right now running 1-2. You know, RCR only has 1 win here. It was back in 1999. You know who the driver was?
In 99, RCR wins with
Jay Sauter.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jay Sauter.
Michael's got it. Jay Sauter.
All over it. How about a stat I'll throw at you?
All right.
When Brendan Gaughan won here 11 years ago,
to the day,
Ty was 10.
Side by side.
And for the lead, here comes Brendan Gaughan.
They don't care how old they are. Brendan says old age and treachery will get you every time. And he takes that kid down, grabs the lead. Great run by Brendan Gaughan.
Crossover.
Brendan Gaughan talking earlier about he and Shane Wilson just having a great way to communicate. They know when each other feels good about what their truck has. And right now, they are in front of the field at Texas once again.
And what I said earlier, I love most about this truck is it's working good on the bottom and the top. He's versatile. He can go anywhere. Takes him a few laps to catch up to the pace that Ty Dillon is setting. But once the 10, 12 laps get on the tires, Brendan's truck's much faster.
The fight for 6 continues between Herman Quiroga and Ron Hornaday. Now, Timothy Peters looks as though slowing down just a bit as the 19 goes by. Ross Chastain up there in the 19.
We saw Ross pass his teammate a few moments ago, the 29 of Ryan Blaney. It looks like Ross's truck is pretty good. He's also gotten by the 54 of Bubba Wallace. Now he's moved up into the top 10.
Yeah, and he's bringing Bubba with him. You know, on this restart, Bubba was back in the 18th position after an adjustment. He's now driving up toward the top 10. You can see him right there behind Timothy Peters.
We got a little extra, a little cushion on fuel, too. About 11 laps for Bubba Wallace.
That's a good feeling when you got options, and he has options to run longer, maybe lead a couple laps. And the tires don't fall off a great deal here at Texas. We do see some fall off, but he probably would be okay with staying out for a few laps after the leaders pit.
Coming up on the halfway point of this race, 167 laps, the scheduled distance.
I mentioned Dakota Armstrong earlier. He's having a solid run tonight, chasing down Todd Bodine there. Look at Dakota right on the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like that truck's handling well. He's just ahead of another couple of young cats, John West Townley and Ryan Sieg. So these guys are all battling along for about the 13th, 14th spot.
Remember, we've had 2 mile-and-a-half races this year. Dakota finished 12th in both of them at Kansas and Charlotte.
Dakota Armstrong currently running in the 15th spot, chasing after 6-time Texas winner Todd Bodine. Well, 4-time Texas winner Brendan Gaughan back in front of the field at Texas. This is the first time he has led laps here since his last win, which was in 2003. Brendan Gaughan trying to get back to victory lane in Texas. In front of the field at Texas Motor Speedway, Brendan Gaughan once again. 3 Chevrolets in the top 3 spots. Ty Dillon runs second. Jeb Burton holding on to the 3rd spot. Matt Crafton in his Toyota running 4th. Then it's James Busher, who's made his way all the way up to the 5th spot after starting at the back of the field.
And another solid effort by Jeb Burton and Mike Hellman Jr. and that Turner Scott Motorsports team. Again, and what a recovery from James Busher. Starting at the back of the pack, has made his way up into the top 5.
Well, the rookies on that team, both Jeb Burton and Chase Elliott, who's run that truck, and Kyle Larson earlier in the year, have done an amazing job. It's the veterans, the guy that won the championship last year, James Busher and Miguel Pluto, that have struggled somewhat. So they're seeing the speed out of their trucks tonight, and that's got to be refreshing.
You threw out the name Chase Elliott. Some drivers aren't old enough to drive on mile-and-a-half racetracks yet. Chase Elliott being one of those.
Okay, 17 years old. They lowered the age on the tracks 1.1 miles and less, but that doesn't include obviously this mile-and-a-half Texas Motor Speedway. But Chase is doing a great job. He actually will be running that ARCA race tomorrow that we'll have right here live on Speed. Hermby, what's going on with the 17?
A little bit early field, the 17 of Timothy Peters coming down pit road, 4 tires in field, a little bit on the tight side for the 17. We'll try to short pit and gain some track position.
Well, we saw that truck falling back. Several trucks had gotten around him. He was running in the 12th position outside the top 10. So hopping on pit road a little bit early, that's taken a bit of a chance. Caution falls, it puts you in a bit of a bind, but they felt like they needed an adjustment in order to get their truck where he could race them.
Herman Quiroga has made the pass by James Busher to take over the 5th spot.
Herman Quiroga has Michael Brooks spotting for him tonight, who used to spot for Timothy Peters.
Longtime family friend of Timothy Peters.
I like this cat here. He's really showing he's adapting to these big tracks of NASCAR, and mile-and-a-halfs, like you talked earlier, feel a very big part of this sport, and he's getting it done. See James's progress through the field. Started 18th, but that doesn't tell the story. He had to go all the way to the back. They changed carburetors on that truck after qualifying, so he was up inside the top 20 pretty quickly, and pretty impressive watching him race into the top 5. Just lost that spot to Quiroga, but he's got plenty of speed tonight.
We're getting close to pit stops. It's been 48 laps since most of the lead lap trucks have been on pit road. We talked about Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, some of those guys that pitted on lap number 55, but the majority of our lead lap trucks pitted back on lap number 44. And again, we're somewhere between 50 and 55 is the pit window.
And we are right at 50 laps now for at least the top 10. Johnny Sauter also came in on lap 44. Just behind him, Darrell Wallace Jr. is in 11th. He came down pit road on lap 55.
Phil, I like this shot of exiting turn 2. We're going to see the back of James Busher's truck. Look how high that thing looks up in the air. That just shows you how important getting that front end pinned to the road is. That gets that spoiler up in the air in the back and helps these trucks aerodynamically. That's a really cool shot, guys.
You really want to pin that left front corner of that race truck down there.
Hermie, looks like John West Townley on pit road.
Yeah, the Mike Beam-led crew is going to try to tighten this truck up a little bit. He was tight at the beginning of the race, got him a little bit too free, a little bit of wedge out of the right rear. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel for John West Townley.
John West was one of the guys that pitted on the last caution, so he only ran about 40 laps from his last time on pit road.
Again, Brendan Gaughan, your race leader, has about a 2.5-second gap between he and second place Ty Dillon.
Yeah, he's stretched it out. No one's been that far ahead all night. See Dillon there off turn 2 while Brendan's halfway down the back.
We saw Justin Jennings in the 63. Heard a story about that team needing a motor. And so an engine had to be brought from Mooresville to Texas, and it was shipped here so that they got it in time for them to race.
Yeah, somebody drove that motor all the way from Mooresville, North Carolina.
Yeah, when you said shipped here, Rick, it was shipped in the back of a pickup truck with a guy driving all night to get it here. That's how bad those guys wanted to race.
Ty Dillon again running in the second spot. He's 3 seconds behind race leader Brendan Gaughan. He came on the radio earlier. We were listening in as he was talking about, I thought there might be a little bit of fluid on the track, maybe some oil coming out from underneath the 02 truck. The driver is always keeping their eye on the track. If there's debris out there, they're the eyes that NASCAR needs because they're the ones that are closest to it.
Well, right now, Brendan Gaughan is the only guy on the racetrack probably that doesn't want to see a caution flag. His truck is so good, and he's opened up over a 3-second lead. Everybody else, I think, would like to see a caution flag, other than the guys that have already stopped, like the 7 of John West Townley and the 17 of Timothy Peters.
And you can see how those tires are paying off for Townley. These are guys that are racing solidly inside the top 10. He's way faster than Hornaday and Pluto. As you can see, he's pushing Hornaday down the back straightaway. He has to be really careful here, Phil. He's got a speed advantage over him because of those fresher tires. Can't get too aggressive and make a mistake. Hornaday might be pitting here.
Oh, and way up the racetrack goes John West Townley. Very close to Ron Hornaday, and Miguel Paludo follows right behind him.
That's what I meant. that was closer than comfort.
And Ty Dillon, what's going on with that team, Ray?
Truck was getting a little bit tight for Ty, and they were running second. Decided to come in here and put 4 tires and throw some Sunoco fuel in. He said, we'll make an air pressure adjustment on your right side to try to help the entry. Let's go to Hermie on the 62, our leader.
Brendan Gaughan brings his 62 truck to a stop. Not surprising, there'll be no changes on this truck. It'll be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel only for the 62. Ray.
Very loose in for Bubba Wallace. He has come in. We also see him pulling away right there. They made a big air pressure adjustment and a track bar change. You see Matt Crafton coming in. They've got goof off on the hood of that Menards Toyota, and Crafton said he felt like there was a possibility that he had a loose wheel at the end of that run. So they're going to make sure they get them all tight. His crew chief said we'd like to have stayed out for trying to lead a lap, but they didn't want to take the chances. 4 tires and fuel for Crafton. He's down and away.
One of the things people need to realize, very few races do we see the Camping World Truck Series have to make green flag pit stops. And right now, a lot of positions on the line as we see the 4 of Jeb Burton come onto pit road, right?
And his Arrowhead Chevrolet, guys, is swinging from tight to loose throughout the run, so that's their big problem. He said he's really got to start low on the racetrack. They'll put 4 tires on. How about Busher?
Busher on pit road. Not a bad run. Got tight at the end of that last run, Ray. 4 tire Sunoco fuel for our champion, James Busher. Ray.
Johnny Sauter has said his truck is absolutely plowing through the corners. The last adjustments they made did not work. You see a wedge adjustment going in that Carolina Nut Toyota. He will get back on track. Remember last time they lost 6 spots for him in the pits.
Yeah, that's tough to give up those spots. You know, it's important. Everybody thinks about a caution flag pit stop, but pit crews are important, but maybe they're more important under green. I don't think so. You lose a second on a green flag pit stop, you might lose some yardage or some feet on the track. You lose a second under a caution flag, 4 or 5 spots, that's a bunch of spots. So you need to make sure your crew is right on every stop. It doesn't matter when.
Ray Dunlap.
Miguel Paludo coming down pit road. He has been saying he's pretty happy with his truck. He said especially on the beginning of the run. Then late in the run, it starts to go away in the center of the corner. Those guys putting an adjustment on the right side there. They dropped the track bar 1 round. You see Miguel came off the brakes just a little bit. They'll get the left side done. Fuel going in, and they're done with the left sides. Miguel back to the racetrack.
Miguel Paludo had led 2 laps. Already we've had 7 different drivers out in front, and now Ryan Blaney in front of you, Hermie.
Yeah, Rick, the 29 was able to pick up a few laps because they topped off on the last time they had an opportunity to come to pit road under caution. Still very, very loose with 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and an air pressure adjustment for the 29.
Boy, if I'm the 29, I'd want to see a wedge wrench in that baby. He's been sideways. Let's work on it a little bit, but they decided just to go with the air pressure adjustment. You can really change a truck with the air pressure, but as loose as he was, maybe some wedge too might not have been a bad idea.
45 miles an hour on pit road. That's pit road speed. They can't go 5 mile an hour over 5 mile an hour above that. So Ryan Blaney creeping off of pit road, and now out in front of the field, David Starr in the 81 staying out there. He came onto pit road a little bit later. How about this close call? The 98.
Max Grissom just didn't know that Johnny Sauter was down on the inside. He went to make the normal front straightaway, and man, they were really close to some serious contact.
Heard Johnny get out of the gas, not knowing where the 8 was going to go.
Start waving here.
When green flag pit stop started, Brendan Gaughan was out in front of the field. He had a 3.3 second lead on the 3 of Ty Dillon. Now, as they run on the racetrack, only 1.5 seconds separate the two trucks.
You know, and earlier we were talking about John West Townley when he had on those fresher tires and he was catching trucks. That's a really tough part of the race, Rick, because you could be talking as much as a second or so in difference in brand new tires and those used ones that are just getting ready to hit pit road. So watch these guys threading their way through these slower trucks.
Dakota Armstrong makes a nice move to get by. Keep an eye open for Brendan Gaughan. He's going to go by on the inside as well. Norm Benning, the 57, caught in the middle there for a moment.
And that's Tyler Young. He had stayed out on the racetrack. We heard Ty Dillon saying that maybe Tyler Young's truck was smoking, but he had stayed out and gotten up into the top 5. In fact, he's running in the 4th spot now, so taking advantage of some differing strategies to get some good, solid runs for some guys that we don't see up toward the front a lot. That's really cool. David Starr leading the race. Another Texas guy leading his home state race. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. He pitted on lap number 57, so he's run 50 laps now, so still on the racetrack. You know, some of these guys ran a little farther than we were talking, almost 60 laps for some of these trucks before they had to pit.
David Starr trying to be the star in the Lone Star State. Would love to get to victory lane in his home state. David Starr leading this race. Rolex Sports Car Series live from Mid-Ohio, June 15th at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, only on Speed.
Hey, we're going to go road racing with these trucks here later on this year.
We are, my sport.
I like that. I went up to Canada a couple weeks ago and talked with Ron Fellows, and we remember an early pit stop for Peters earlier, and now he's back on pit road. This is a little soon.
Way early, way early.
Anyway.
Only 25 laps since he was last in, Hermie.
Yeah, he's fighting this race truck a lot, very, very loose. They're going to come back in. He's even thinking he may have a tire going flat. It'll be 2 right side tires going around to the left side now. It'll be 4 tires and fuel, and trying to tighten this truck up for Timothy Peters.
You know, our leader, Phil, Brendan Gaughan, he hasn't gone anywhere since that pit stop. Dakota Armstrong is the first truck a lap down, and he is right on Brendan and has been running right there with him. We've seen Ty Dillon. You talked about he's over 3 seconds up when they pitted. He's about to catch the pack that Brendan's in. I don't know if the adjustments they made to that truck didn't go well, but he hasn't left this pack. He's been right there, and he's leading the race.
Good news for Timothy Peters is I think that pit stop will get him in his pit window. If we go green the rest of the way, everybody else is going to have to pit under green.
And Brendan Gaughan once again out in front.
We did free up. It's about a 2 on the pretty loose side.
He has a 1-second lead over Ty Dillon. But it's Crafton that's 5 seconds back from Ty Dillon. So a 6-second gap between Brendan Gaughan and 3rd place Matt Crafton, as this one has gone green for quite some time.
Ty got a bad break, got caught in behind the 24, Brendan Newberry, for a moment. Now he's going to move to the high side to drive by Newberry.
Newberry is right on the tailgate of Dakota Armstrong. So these guys are racing hard for that lucky dog pass if the caution does come out after this long green flag run. That's a valuable position to be in.
As you mentioned, we're getting into the window now where guys can make it from here, but there will need to be quite a few drivers that will have to stop to come back in because they won't have enough fuel.
Yeah, I think right now Timothy Peters is the only guy on the racetrack that would be able to make it the rest of the way without stopping.
Ty Dillon's truck must be really tight. He went down in that corner past Newberry and then the thing just went straight with him. He couldn't hold it down to the bottom, and Brendan drove back around or up the side, Dylan. Now he's got it going again, but really tight off turn 2 down there.
That's allowed Brendan Gaughan to open up about a 2.5 lead now. Ty had gotten it down to about 0.8 of a second. Now it's 1.8 as they cross over the start-finish line.
Bad lap for Ty there.
13 trucks on the lead lap. John West Townley about to go a lap down as Brendan Gaughan continues to set a blistering pace now after green flag pit stops. Has him with a 1.8 second lead over second place Ty Dillon.
I tell you, it looks like all these trucks right now are running the same speed, guys, because again, John West Townley's been right in front of Brendan Gaughan for a number of laps, and you talked about Dakota Armstrong, Michael, being right behind him, and there he is, 3 truck lengths back.
Yeah, Dakota's a big fan of John West Townley. He wants John West to stay ahead so that he's that lucky dog, gets that lap back. It's kind of weird, though, that Brendan can't go anywhere and that Armstrong's about to try to get up beside him. I don't think Brendan likes his truck after the pit stop.
You can see him moving around now, trying to find some grip. Went way high down there in 3 and 4 that lap.
Shows you how competitive the truck series is. He caught these guys and just thinking he's going to put them a lap down. Think again, buddy. These guys are racing hard.
And he's also driving away right now from Ty Dillon.
Timothy Peters has been on pit road a few times. Hermie, what are they saying now?
Yeah, I came down and talked to crew chief Butch Hilton. In addition to the truck not being perfect, Butch told me they also have a broken valve spring inside of that engine, so they want to come down, get their fuel, play the fuel mileage game. They are good to go to the end of the race tonight, but a broken valve spring on the 17 in addition to his other problems, Rick.
Well, I'll tell you, Hermie, that last time by he ran 31.09. That's about 0.3 better than our leader. So with a lame engine, those tires are really paying off for him, and he's making some good time now. If the caution doesn't come out, his strategy might play out.
Jeb Burton with a good run on the high side, able to take third away from Matt Crafton. Now back to the bottom of the racetrack comes that 88 of Crafton.
You know, Jeb Burton in our 6 races, the only 2 finishes this year outside of the top 15 were on the 1.5-mile racetracks, Kansas and Charlotte.
There's our leader, and there's the lap truck of Dakota Armstrong trying to get back around him. Look at that. He's going to make the move.
11 years ago to the day, it was a 26-year-old Brendan Gaughan who grabbed his first career win in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. A lot of celebration then. You can just imagine how much celebration if he stays up front tonight. Casino 400 presented by Ram.
There's your leader
out front.
There's your leader in the lap truck of Dakota Armstrong. They actually swapped spots there once or twice, but it's allowed Ty Dillon to drive right back up to Gaughan. Look at Armstrong, strong on the bottom, up beside Gaughan again.
I think Brendan has his hands full right now.
Dakota Armstrong, as you mentioned, he is the first truck a lap down. He came onto pit road on lap 94 compared to when Brendan Gaughan came onto pit road lap 99. So tires very comparable.
Yeah, if anything, he's got 5 more laps on his tires than Brendan does. But I think Brendan's struggling right now with his truck. Ty right there is closed in now to about 3/4 of a second behind, but he's been struggling trying to get by some of the lap trucks as well.
Again, pit window around 50 to 55 laps, as we mentioned. Last on pit road, our race leader, lap 99. Ty Dillon was on pit road, lap 98. So expecting around lap 148, 149, you'd see these trucks looking at coming back down to pit road. Again, we have just 37 laps to go in this one.
I think a lot of these guys up in that top 5 wouldn't mind seeing a caution, get them a chance to make one last adjustment, know that they can make it to the finish without running out of gas and close this big gap. We've talked about the fact that Gaughan and Dillon are struggling, but they're 5 seconds up on Jeb Burton back there in the 3rd spot. Get a caution, get these things bunched up. Maybe they'll have a shot with some track position to challenge these guys.
If we stay green, inside 20 laps until green flag pit stops once again. Let's drop back through the field. We'll start off with race leader Brendan Gaughan and Herman.
Well, thank you, Rick. There was no changes on the last pit stop for Brendan Gaughan, but he is loose. His crew chief Shane Wilson just told him next pit stop, the set of tires that's going on the truck is a little bit tighter, and they will add 1 round of wedge on the next pit stop. Ray?
Jeremy, the truck that Ty Dillon is driving tonight is chassis 26. They ran it at Charlotte. He got a top 5. His crew chief, Marcus Richmond, that you see on the left side of the screen, has been asking him, are you too loose on the beginning of the run? Ty said, I'm not quite sure. He said, it's okay. We might be able to make it just a little bit better, but there's not much difference between the 62 and the 3. When we look back to the next position, Jeb Burton said he is really good on his entry, just a little bit loose in the center. He's really hoping for a shot at victory lane tonight because his mother Tabitha's birthday is tomorrow night. He said that would be a pretty good one. And look at this, we got a change for the lead. Here comes the 3. He's under Brendan.
Ty Dillon makes the move to the inside. Brendan Gaughan back to second now. A power move by that Bass Pro Shops 3.
Brendan struggled off turn 4 that lap, and it took Ty all the way down to turn 1 and 2 to make the move. But we talked about Brendan not being where he wanted to be, and he really had a big bobble off forward. It gave Ty the momentum to get around him.
So again, green flag pit stops. Sometimes when they come onto pit road under green flag conditions, teams not able to make a big of adjustments as they want to. And take another look at how this happens.
We talked about turn 4 giving him problems. Sideways right out next to the wall. Look how loose he is.
Just about ran out of room. You saw the 60. Watch him drive away. That's going to open up, and you're going to see the momentum that the 3 of Ty Dillon has. As again, Mike, as you mentioned, Michael, he had the momentum, but then it took him half the racetrack to make the pass.
And Phil, at the beginning of the show, you talked about adjustments, being able to make the right adjustments. All of the practices were done in the daytime, under the sunlight. Now the track's cooling off or under the lights.
And they reported no changes for that 62 truck. We know how good he was before his last pit stop. Didn't change anything, and the truck really went to loose.
And he struggled to hang on to it. A couple of times he's been sideways. That time he was really sideways.
You know, right now, if I'm one of these guys running 7th or 8th, I may pit early because I know I've got 32 laps to go. Get some new tires on that thing and use them.
Ty Dillon, your new race leader for Texas Motor Speedway. Sunday, after Cup drivers tangle in Pocono, turn to speed for the ultimate post-race coverage and celebrate with the winner. NASCAR Victory Lane, live from Pocono. That's Sunday, right after the race, only on Speed. Pit road is open. Caution has come out. The 19 of Ross Chastain got up into the wall, and race leader Ty Dillon brings him on to pit road. First of all, let's go to Hermie Seven.
Brendan Gaughan brings the 62 to pit road. Crew chief Shane Wilson's telling Brendan this racetrack is changing. It's freeing up. It'll be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, 1 round of wedge in the left rear. Ray.
Jeb Burton said, do not free me up too much. Mike Hillman Jr. says, don't worry, buddy. I've got a plan. You see Burton at the bottom of your screen, a little crooked in the entry to his box. At the top, you see the number 3 truck. He's going to go with 4 tires. They said no adjustment, but it was a ½ pound air pressure up on the right rear. He is going to get 4 tires and gas. He will get away. There goes the number 3 truck. Jeb Burton follows him off. Matt Crafton's going to be tucked in tight behind. Brendan Gaughan will roll off 4th.
Matt was awful fast out of that last box. He was able to get by Brendan Gaughan, but he put a truck length on him. Hope he wasn't speeding.
How about Jeb Burton?
Yeah,
good stop for that team.
Work. I tell you, that's been a good truck too. He was solidly up in a 3rd spot here when the caution flag came out.
And we see the damage to the right side of the 19. Ross Chastain gets up, kisses the wall. Take a look. He's up there already.
Scrubbing along.
A lot of people have moved up the racetrack, and Ross was one of them. Got just a little bit too high. We saw it happen to Brendan a few moments ago. Almost got into the outside wall.
Dash to the finish. 27 laps to go from Texas. Motor Speedway. Just 25 laps remain. Quite a few drivers have been out front in this one. 8. We take a look at our AT&T race break.
Ooh, problem for Chad Hockenbaugh making his debut here. Got in the middle of 3 trucks there. Got a little bit loose into the outside and inside wall.
And then watch this. Wide open at the end of the back straightaway. How lucky was Johnny Sauter, and what a great job Timothy Peters did. That truck of Joey Coulter just hopped around on him going straight.
Just 2 cautions in this race. The battle for the lead between RCR teammates. Brendan Gaughan able to take the spot away from Ty Dillon.
Yeah, both trucks right now have led 44 laps in this race.
A little bit later in the race, the 3 of Ty Dillon able to get back by that 62 of Brendan Gaughan. So the third caution comes out for the 19 of Ross Chastain. That brings us to this restart. Ty Dillon on the outside, Jeb Burton on the inside. Green flag back in the air.
Look at Matt Crafton.
Look at Bubba Wallace, makes it 3 wide now.
That's what Matt was thinking about. Bubba made it happen. He got on the inside of Quiroga. And look at the top. These guys are really going for it now, baby.
Jeb Burton with a great restart. Had struggled earlier on the restarts. Now trying to take the lead away from Ty Dillon.
He's got it, too.
Did I tell you how smart this kid is and how quick he learns? He made a mistake early. He's gotten better and better. And he grabs the lead.
And brings the 88 of Matt Crafton with him. Crafton up to second. Ty Dillon back to third.
Look at that pack after them, though. I told you if you reset them and said, let's let me taste the lead. Let me get a look at the lead. These guys would really let things rip, and they've done just that. Look at Ty Dillon looking on the outside.
Brendan Gaughan all the way back to 7th. Brendan restarted 4th.
Guard that bottom, getting in the corner. Guard the bottom.
Whoa.
Ramon Quiroga now moving to the inside of James Busher for position.
There was contact on the straightaway between those two trucks.
Battle for the third spot. 54 of Bubba Wallace on the inside. Ty Dillon on the outside. Those two racing for third.
We saw Bubba made an early green flag pit stop to work on that truck, and that moved him up into the top 10. Now he has to chase it up the hill right next to Ty Dillon.
Hearing that Ross Chastain's added insult to injury by moving up before the green flag, before the start-finish line. He's going to have to do a pass-through, so hit the wall now, another mistake.
Have to serve that penalty under the green flag condition here as Jeb Burton out in front. Matt Crafton running second. Ty Dillon in third.
Guys, we only have 21 laps to go now. We know these guys are not going to have to come to pit road again. Watch our man Quiroga go way up the hill right behind the 54 Bubba Wallace.
And that opens up the bottom for Brendan Gaughan and James Busher. They're going to push right by Quiroga. Quiroga lost his front end. Truck pushed off the corner, had to go up the hill. And here comes trouble when that happens.
Brendan Gaughan has the momentum now, riding along with Johnny Sauter as he looks forward to the 9 of Ron Hornaday.
Johnny right now runs in the 9th spot. See Ty Dillon now trying to figure out a way by the 88 of Matt Crafton. What an outstanding season our point leader Matt Crafton has had. Top 5 finishes, I believe, in every race this year.
Yeah, his worst finish actually 9th at Daytona.
Had that one 9th at Daytona, then top 5 since then.
Ran every lap too. That's why that's how you win a championship, and that explains Matt Crafton. You give him a truck, he's going to get you top 10. That's just the way he rolls.
Got back to victory lane this year at Kansas. And now the battle for position once again. Here comes Brendan Gaughan trying to take the spot away from Bubba Wallace in the 54. Those two racing for the 4th spot.
Brendan says, I have to go now. I'm about 2 seconds behind. We only have 19 laps to go. I need to get up there and chase down that lead 3.
And you know, Brendan's got the truck to do that. If it goes back to like it was earlier, after about 7 or 8 laps, he starts making time on these guys. He could arrive right on Jeb Burton's bumper right when it comes time to count.
All right, that's it. Now hit your mark.
That's it. They're telling him, go, buddy.
They're on Quiroga. Still working to the inside as you see our top 3. Jeb Burton, I believe at the beginning of the show, we talked a little bit about these kids and who could get to victory lane. Jeb Burton now up front.
How about Ty Dillon? Now he got by the 88 Matt Crafton. He's the guy I thought was going to get to victory lane. He's second now, going to chase down that 4 of Jeb Burton.
So the 2 young guns, the 2 young drivers running 1 and 2 here at Texas as we have just 17 laps of racing to go.
Would you believe Jeb Burton and Ty Dillon ran the exact same lap time, which was the fastest lap time anyone could run this race, this lap.
30.597 the last time by for the 2 of them.
We picked a pretty good couple of kids, huh, Phil?
Sure did. How about Bubba Wallace now? He's going back after the 62 of Brendan Gaughan.
Down to the bottom of the racetrack, the 54 of Bubba Wallace trying to take the position away. Momentum on the high side with Brendan Gaughan. It gets door to door with them as they cross the stripe and go into turn 1.
You know, Michael, you talked about the 62 of Brendan Gaughan taking a few laps to get going. We only have 16 laps left. It better go now.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like that truck's going to go for him this time. It looks like when he gets up on the high side of the racetrack, it's just tight. He's not able to get that good run off the corner that we saw earlier. He's able to hold Bubba down low and hold Bubba off, but Look who's closing in from behind.
As those two fight for the 5th spot, coming in behind them, Ron Hornaday in the 7th position. Out in front, the gap now 0.6 of a second between Jeb Burton and Ty Dillon with under 15 laps to go.
I really think we're going to have a shootout as we watch a good battle between Ryan Blaney, the 29, and James Busher, the 31. That's a battle for the 9th spot, right side of your screen.
Left side, you see the gap for the lead. Ty Dillon trying to close that gap. Jeb Burton trying to win his first ever Camping World Truck Series race.
He's been close. We felt like he would get a win this year, and tonight just might be the night.
There's Miguel Paludo. He's going to get by Dakota Armstrong in that battle for 11th spot. We saw Dakota drive by the leader to stay on the lead lap, and that's got him up now battling for a position just outside the top 10.
Miguel Paludo in that 32, currently running in the 11th spot. The longer runs have been good for Miguel Paludo, but he doesn't have enough laps to make this a long run.
Look who's coming. Ty Dillon closing in hard on Jeb Burton.
The gap was 0.6 of a second. Now just 0.2 of a second separate the top two.
Great lap by Ty Dillon that time. He was 0.3 of a second faster than Jeb Burton.
Jeb's caught a little bit of lap traffic. Your truck's going to handle differently when you come up behind another truck. That's Joey Coulter. Joey goes up to the high side and gets out of the way. But anytime there's other trucks ahead of you, it's going to change your truck a bit.
This time by 12 laps remain at Texas. Jeb Burton in front of Ty Dillon.
You know, I was joking around with Mike Hillman Jr., the crew chief for Jeb Burton. He said, there he is right there. There's Mike Hillman Jr. He said, Jeb, don't screw up my record here. I've got a pretty good one. Remember, crew chief for so many of the top Rhode wins here.
Ray Dunlap.
And guys, keep in mind, Mike Jr. is a 21-time winner in this series, and he talked about the year he's had so far with Jeb Burton. He said, even though we had that great run and finished 3rd at Martinsville, he said, we're not pleased at all with the results. They had a bad finish at Kansas City and a 13th at Charlotte, but they have said each and every week we've been there. People have been talking about us. They know it. And right now, he's pretty confident on the last adjustment they made. He's telling Jeb, just hit your marks.
It's going to be the longest 11 laps of Jeb's career, though, trying to hold off a guy that has won before, a truck that raced and won a championship, and that young man out in front just saying, please, let me figure out a line. And I like what he's doing. He's not just hugging that bottom. He's moving up a little bit, moving around. He can't just be dedicated to one line and let Ty drive up there and go around him. You can see a little higher into the entry of the corner, and he's able to gap Ty.
He's hitting his marks, and he is putting distance between himself and Ty Dillon. It used to be 0.2 of a second, the separation between the two. Now it's almost 0.6 of a second.
He really found something there. I think maybe he watched the mirror and saw where Ty was running and looked like he's gained on a little bit. The last couple laps, he's been the fastest truck on the racetrack again.
Inside of 10 laps to go. 9 remain in this one. The battle's continuing throughout the racetrack and the field. Miguel Paludo still in front of the 60 of Dakota Armstrong, but Dakota with a good run now.
And they continue to battle for the 11th spot just outside the top 10. See Ryan Blaney, the 29, moving to the high side, trying to get around Ron Hornaday. That's a battle for the 8th spot.
There's battles all over this racetrack. Look at Hornaday. He's been really diving hard down into the corner on that 29 truck of Blaney, but he just can't get the pass pulled off.
See the momentum that Ryan Blaney has from the top side, and he will take over that 8th spot from Ron Hornaday.
So Blaney has 8, the highest running Ford in this field.
Look how Hornaday goes down in the corner, way deep. But then the momentum on the high side is able to propel Blaney ahead.
Still in front, Jeb Burton has a half a second lead over Ty Dillon. Then it's Matt Crafton, Ivan Quiroga, and Brendan Gaughan, your top 5. There's the distance between 1 and 2. 7 laps of racing remain.
Look at Dillon. He said, I got to do something. He's getting smaller in my windshield. I got to move around. He goes up to the high side.
No pressure, nice and smooth.
Coming up on some slower lap traffic. How about the nerves closing in on potentially the first win for Jeb Burton? We always see Ward around the racetrack. Always proud of his son. How about Tabitha?
That's Mom.
Tabitha that Jeb talked about trying to get this win for his mom. I think maybe Tabitha's birthday was tomorrow. Yeah.
Ray Dunlap.
And not only are they excited about maybe getting a birthday celebration, but I looked around the pit area here trying to find Ward. He's nowhere to be found. That's because he's up on the spotter stand. He said he's always too nervous during a race to be around the crew down here, and he doesn't want to mess them up. Ward's on the roof. Tabitha getting ready to hopefully celebrate a birthday.
5 laps remaining. Jeb Burton, the 20-year-old out of Virginia, closing in on his first ever win.
Remember how he got this lead. Couple of the first start of the day, spun his tires, fell back. The second one a little bit better. That last one, he nailed it. But look at Dillon. He's not giving up. He's also closing in. He's gone way up to the high side, and he's making ground on the young man.
He gained a couple tenths of a second the lap before this. See what he does this lap.
I think it's another couple of tenths.
Tried to use the momentum off the 8. We saw Jeb Burton in the 4 also go down low, trying to get behind the 8 of Max Gresham, get a little bit of air off of that truck.
I'll tell you, Ty's coming now.
Another 0.2 of a second that last lap by. He's gone to the very high side. I'm sure Jeb's spotters reporting to him where Ty's running, and it's working for Ty.
Is there enough time remaining? Coming out of turn number 4. There's Ward Burton on the left.
3 to go.
Daytona 500 winner. 3 laps remaining. Jeb Burton now just a half a second in front of Ty Dillon.
Another 0.2 of a second that lap, Mikey.
This is how you want to win your first race, with a truck like Ty Dillon chasing you down. But man, it'd be much better if you had a straightaway lead and the white flag was in the air.
Crafton looks as though off the pace just a bit.
That's a battle for third.
Comes up, moves to the inside, trying to take that 3rd spot away.
Outstanding run by Herman Quiroga tonight.
Love seeing this.
Truck has been extremely strong. Inside of 2 laps to go. Half a second separating our top 2.
Last time by, Dillon's faster again than Burton.
Way up the racetrack, the 19 of Ross Chastain.
Look at there. He's a couple of truck lengths is all it is, Phil. Look at Ty Dillon blowing dirt up in the groove that no one's running, and he's closing in.
Trying to keep that momentum up. This time by. White flag in the air. One more time around. And Ty Dillon has closed the gap now.
Ty Dillon can feel it now. He knows he's getting close.
What a great job by Joey Coulter up out of the way. He knows those guys are battling for a win in Texas. Doesn't get much bigger than that.
Jeb Burton just 0.3 of a second in front of Ty Dillon the last time they went across the stripe. Ty Dillon goes to high side. Burton down low looking for his first win. Coming out of turn number 4. Jeb Burton's going to hold up Ty Dillon. Burton wins at Texas.
Hey, boys, you guys are awesome. This is awesome right here, bud. I told you were coming to my house. They talk about them drivers that ain't them drivers. Proud of you boys. Thanks for all you do. Oh, the job, guys. Damn, y'all good.
You remember how emotional.
You and the man, do that burnout you've been wanting to do. Great job, guys.
You know how emotional Jeb Burton got when he won the poles already this year. He's won 3 poles. And it brought tears to his eyes, the magnitude of what he was able to accomplish. How about Dad and the celebration?
That's Stuart Cooper right there with Turner Scott Motorsports.
I bet you that feels better to him than it did when he won the Daytona 500 himself, watching his son win.
And Tabitha celebrating with Mike Hillman Jr. And let's hear from him. He's with Ray.
You told him on that final pit stop you had a plan. You guys came in 4th, went out 2nd, got the track position. How's it feel to be back in Victory Lane at Texas?
Oh, it's really awesome. You know, it's been a while since we've been here, Ray, so it's really cool to go back to Victory Lane, take Jeb Burton to his first win. Everybody at Turner Scott Motorsports works really, really hard day in and day out. It's just cool to get us back in Victory Lane where we belong. I just got to thank all the guys for how hard they work. This is awesome.
Congratulations. Mike Hillman Jr. will be celebrating a nice birthday gift for Jeb's mom, and we'll talk to him in Victory Lane here shortly.
It's a pretty good burnout for your first win in NASCAR. Jeb Burton celebrating win number 1 of his career. We will see him celebrate more when he gets to Victory Lane. Celebration for young Jeb Burton. But anytime there's a winner, someone has to finish second. That was Ty Dillon. Oh, so close. coming home in a second-place finish. Let's hear from him. He's with Hermie.
Well, Ty Dillon comes home second. Led a lot of the race tonight and battled your teammate for most of this race. Then the 4 comes along at the end, moving your line around at the end of the race. Maybe a couple more laps.
One more lap, one more turn is all I needed. But we shouldn't have had that happen at the end. We were dominant cars. Me and Brendan both. The old veteran got up there in front of me, showed me a little bit of what to do. But I'm really proud of RCR. Our guys are really working hard. Bass Pro Shops, Wesco, UNOH. Everybody's helps out. Tag Heuer. It was a great effort. We're going to win a bunch of these things, man. I just wanted that one tonight, man. We worked so hard for it, led so many laps, and I'm just a little heartbroken. But, you know, Texas has been good to me, and we'll go on. We'll win some. But great job on Jeb's part, man. I just didn't have any help on the restart. Crafton was pushing the 4, and I didn't have any help. And they motored by me on the backstretch, and from then on, it was just a fight. We definitely had the best truck. It's just, man, I'm disappointed. One more turn, one more straightaway, something, man. We almost had him at the line for as far back as we are. I'm proud of my guys. I'm proud of our effort. Things are going to start going our way here soon.
That's Ty Dillon. He comes home second. Let's go to, I'm sure, a very exciting victory lane.
Yeah, Hermie, you bet. Here comes Jeb Burton out in his 12th start in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. The Arrowhead Chevrolet for Turner Scott Motorsports comes into victory lane. Long way from South Boston, Virginia to come to Texas Motor Speedway. How's it feel to get your first big NASCAR victory?
Man, it's freaking awesome. I'm just a little old country boy from South Boston and living the dream, man. I've got some great team right here, and thank Arrowhead and everybody at South Boston. Hey, and thank Rocky Ridge Trucks, Chevrolet, Civic Equipment, Career Tank Lines. Man, these guys right here, damn, that's the best team I've ever had the privilege to drive for.
You know, Jeb, you guys have had the poles, you've had the speed, but the results haven't come. How gratifying is this to see it finally all come together so early in the season?
It's huge. I've been telling everybody once we get one, you know, they're going to start stacking up. We lost one at Martinsville. Man, this is awesome. It's a good points night for us, and I'm ready for Kentucky in a couple weeks. We'll try to get another one, but thank everybody what's helped me in my whole career. It's been a whole lot of blood and tears to get here, and it means a lot.
Congratulations. Another Burton in victory lane in NASCAR. Let's go back over to the other end of pit road and check in with Hermie.
It's a lot of emotion in victory lane, first-time winner, but here's our points leader, Matt Crafton. This team just continues to knock down top fives. What did you have tonight, and how you ended up here in the top 5?
I mean, it's a great run, all in all. I mean, we just missed it a little bit. I mean, just didn't have the speed on the short run for whatever it was. I mean, I was decent on a short run, but my God, I mean, those two up front, I mean, they would take off and just be gone. And I needed probably 25 laps so I could pace them. And at the end of a run, I could start running them back down. But all in all, not a bad day. I mean, finished top 5. I mean, it's definitely not what we wanted. Disappointed with it, but I can't thank these guys enough. Each and every week, they just surprise me with what they pull out of their hat. But Menards Toyota Tundra was pretty good.
That's Matt Crafton. He'll go to Kentucky as the points leader.
But Jeb Burton chips away at that point lead. Matt Crafton comes in as your race winner and coming in to celebrate with his son. That's Ward Burton. This celebration is not going to end anytime soon. The 20-year-old out of South Boston, Virginia, Jeb Burton gets his first win and becomes the youngest Truck Series winner at Texas at just 20 years old.
Michael, you talked about it on the restart here. Bad restart at the very start of the race. He learned and learned and learned.
Look at him take the angle of the corner away from Dillon, running up high and then cutting left. You don't just learn that in your 12th race. You watched a lot of racing in your career to understand what it takes to make that move.
In our Ram Guts and Glory, he had the guts and now gets the glory. First Truck Series win. Mom comes in, says, Dad, get out of the way. I want to celebrate with my son. And now let's hear from Dad. He's with Ray.
Well, we've got a lot of folks back here in the backside of victory lane. Steve Turner here. Turner Scott Motorsports grabs another victory. Tabitha will be celebrating a birthday tomorrow. This is younger brother Ashton here. He's got a very nice cowboy hat. And Ward, I got to ask you, you've won a Daytona 500, but how big is this night?
Biggest day I've ever experienced in racing. And we've got so many people to thank. Kathy Foley, Eric Hitty, Sig. Whew, can't say enough about them and their company. Steve Turner, Harry Scott, what resources they're providing for Jeb and this race team. Mike Hillman, him and Jeb are like brothers. Mike just guides him all step of the way. He's got everything he needs. Our family just so lucky to be here.
We had some pretty cool video of you celebrating up there. You were way up on the roof, but still a pretty exciting time.
Man, I wish I'd had a parachute. I'd gotten down here early.
All right, congratulations. The Burtons down here having a great time in Victory Lane. Let's check back in with Hermie.
Well, Ray, Jeb Burton won the race, but a lot of excitement on pit road. Herman Quiroga, you were so disappointed at Dover last week. Ran so well, didn't get the finish you wanted, but capped it off tonight. Career best. Third place finish. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the whole team, Red Horse Racing. The 7-turn wireless Toyota Tundra was great. I knew we were fast. We just need to work on pit strategy. I need to get better, but of course we were very fast on the track and we gained the positions we lost here. So I'm very happy, very proud of all the team, of all the guys that are back in the shop, and I'm looking forward for my first win for Mexico.
What did you learn tonight? Obviously, it's different from racing 12th to 15th to racing in the top 5. What did you learn tonight?
For sure. I mean, they respect very good up in the front. I ran the AE8 for the third place, like the last laps, and he was like very giving me enough room, and I was giving him room too. So I want to thank him for that opportunity. And obviously, the whole team make a great job, and the truck was very stable, so we could pass or try to pass somebody, but it was good for us. I mean, they have a lot of respect, and I appreciate that.
Career best finish for Herman Quiroga. Rick?
Thanks, Jeremy. Let's take a look at our unofficial results.
I love all that emotion and happiness. And I also love the fact that Ty Dillon was so disappointed. He was so close to winning. You can just see what kind of passion and emotion it takes to be successful in NASCAR.
Brendan Gaughan dropping back to the 5th spot after battling with his teammate Ty Dillon for most of the race up front.
Great run by Darrell Wallace Jr. charging up into the top 10. Worst qualifying effort he's had, and got a 6th place finish.
James Busher comes out with a top 10 after starting all the way at the back.
Ron Hornaday, a 12th place run, had a very strong truck once again tonight. Ross Chastain holds on for a 13th place finish after slapping the wall late in the race.
See, Joey Coulter had that problem going in turn number 3. Something broke or a tire went soft. Chad Hockenbraw, making his first start ever, unfortunately made contact with the wall.
And again, our leave unofficial results. Starting off with Jeb Burton on the top of that list, his first ever win. He becomes the 5th different driver to win in 2013, but there was a lot of emotion, not only with Jeb Burton and his win, but Herman Quiroga celebrating.
It's a career best right there.
Race winner. In there with Eddie Gossage.
There's the hardware, Rick. Mike Hillman Jr. holding a nice trophy.
That is his 6th Texas win for Mike Hillman Jr. That's a bunch. Perfect.
Well, Brendan, you get your 5th consecutive top 5 finish, but for the majority of the race, it was an RCR show up front. What was going on then, and what changed at the end to cause you to lose that track position?
You know, the track freed up a little too much in the end, and we just didn't adjust to it. But last restart, I screwed up a little bit. I got behind my teammate, trying to crashing and burning after the race, trying to kind of push us, and I lost the nose, gave the 31 the chance to get outside me, lost my momentum. That killed us right here. I got a good run right up here, getting through the gears, and I got right to Ty's bumper. And the front straightaway here is such a tough deal. I lost the nose right here where all of a sudden I could not turn because I got too far underneath them. They started banging each other, and Boucher did a great job of taking advantage, lost my momentum. You know, that hurt us, but then in the end, we actually, ECR got to give a big shout out to the boys. 320 on the water, 350 on the oil pressure, and 45 pounds on water pressure, and we made it to the end for 10 laps. So got to give a big thanks to them ECR boys. They do great stuff with great power, but also know how to make them live.
Well, Brendan Gaughan put on a show tonight. He ends up with a top 5 finish.
The Ram unofficial point standings, 23 points separating Matt Crafton and Jeb Burton after a very impressive performance by Burton. Crafton, though, not too many spots back. He finished in 4th in this race.
Yeah, been so solid. You see Brendan Gaughan there, 35 points out in 3rd spot. Johnny Sauter, 45. Ryan Blaney up in the top 5, 47 points behind.
How about our man Dakota Armstrong? Strong run tonight, passed our leader, got a lap back, finished in the 11th spot, and he's up to the top 10 in points. Great job.
Bubba Wallace, solid in points, 8th in his first year here in the Camping World Truck Series.
Just 7 races into the season. Already 5 different winners. And the hardware going to Jeb Burton here at Texas Motor Speedway.